Hello, everyone, and welcome to Geeky Geezers. I am your host, Aged Boomer. This is my co-host, Pacelli.
Hooah!
And we have special guest tonight, Deleted Scenes. He's currently muted, but
Good evening, everyone.
all right.
Somebody didn't mute their.
It's okay. I heard Troy's hoo-ah twice. That's too many for one night. Deleted Scenes.
One was too many.
I guess just mute your YouTube or whatever. Right. All right, but I'll say hi to the chat real quick. And Deleted Scenes is here. He's usually our one of our great blue wrenches in the chat.
But I also referred to him as our subject matter expert when it comes to movies and deep dives on the industry. He's one of my go-tos.
Well, welcome, Deleted. Oh wait, I already talked. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. What is this? Holy smokes! Check out the expression on Oscar's face. Quick, get him some. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Matanui, hi. Auditor Dread. Is this one of yours, Deleted Scenes?
He is.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, welcome to the chat.
Yeah. Hopefully you enjoy the stream enough to give it a like and subscribe.
Yeah, give it a like, subscribe if you want. We're not going to force you, though. I get a high sweet
like you could.
And also, those of you in my chat who are not subscribed to Deleted Scenes, please do so. He puts out these cool short videos, like when he's coming out of the theater and stuff about stuff he's watched, right? So, yeah.
Yep.
Watching any good movies lately, Deleted Scenes?
Yes, I saw the Indian film Pathan, starring Shah Rukh Khan and John Abraham. And straight up, it's the best movie I've seen so far this year.
Wow.
Okay. I mean, 2023 hasn't been around that long, but
no.
I should get more into Indian cinema, considering Hollywood needs some competition.
Just gonna say, considering there's not much going on in Hollywood.
But let's see here. Have a great stream, geezers. Thank you, Big Al.
Thanks.
Joshua V. Hi, guys. I hope this Oscars won't be too dramatic. Yeah, no slapping, please. Let's not. Satopia, welcome. Let's see. D. Penzek. Okay. So let's see. What am I talking about here?
Don't know. It's your show.
Okay. We're going to get into the good old days.
Tell me about the good old days.
All right. So let me do a share screen. Give me 1 sec.
It's that present button down on the bottom.
I know what it is. Okay. Never mind. Okay. I got a little thrown off there for a second. Can all of you see what I see?
Yep.
All right.
Gauntlet, an Atari game, sort of.
Yeah, okay. So this is where I'm at, and Troy may have a different perspective on this. I figured we'd do one more talk about video games, even though technically Tron is not a video game. We did talk about that last week, and that's sort of kind of the whole gaming scene.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, there was a video game based off the movie before. We talked about Atari, the Atari 2600, I believe, right?
Yes.
So I figured this week we talk about some of the arcade games of that era, and I thought maybe Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Midway. Do y'all know Midway?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Midway Games. So Midway was originally Bally Midway. Okay.
Yep.
And some of the games I'm going to mention on here did go under the Atari moniker originally, but Midway absorbed this branch of Atari games. And they also absorbed Williams, even though some of the games I'm going to mention on here are Williams and Atari games. It's all Midway as far as I'm concerned, even though they weren't originally, if that makes any sense. Let's move along. Joust. Yeah. Remember Joust?
Yes, I do. I have some contentious memories of that game, actually.
You flew on a flying ostrich.
Yep.
And you hit things.
It was a good old-fashioned joust, only you were on a flying ostrich rather than a horse. Yeah.
And you had to capture eggs.
Yep.
Yes. So it's an
interesting. And you flew over lava pits. So and there was some sort of demon hand that sometimes reached up from the lava to pull you down.
Pretty cool. This was actually a version of this was made for the original Nintendo Entertainment System by none other than Satoru Iwata, who ended up becoming the president of Nintendo a few years back, and he did it as a means to demonstrate, hey Atari, why don't you release Nintendo over in the United States? You know, because
Yeah.
we can you can put your Atari games on here or your famous arcade games, but Atari wasn't interested. But there are other people out there that say the 7800 version of this game is the definitive. But I'm
Yeah.
rambling. Let's move on. Marble Madness. Ring a bell?
This one I don't know.
Okay, you would use a paddle ball and you would maneuver a marble around these labyrinths, and these weird things would try to eat your marble or it would shatter, and you had to get it to the ending before the time limit. It was really
Wow.
cool. It had like a kind of an Escher painting look to it, you know?
Yeah.
All right, so that was cool. Paperboy.
Yes, I remember this one.
Look, the arcade game even comes with handlebars. You see that? And you could drive around and throw the papers at.
There's a YouTuber like the Angry Gamer Nerd or something like that.
Angry Video Game Nerd, yes.
Angry Video Game Nerd who talks about this one too. It's like, very, very frustrating game.
It was actually the first video game in some ways I technically bought. We got an NES for Christmas in '89, and I got a game for Christmas, but my parents said, since you didn't know you were going to be getting this, we'll buy one more game for you. And I chose Paperboy. What was I thinking?
Yeah, right.
As
exactly.
the Angry Video Game Nerd would say, what were they thinking? But it's actually not that bad a game on the NES. It was actually a pretty good port of the arcade game. But it's funny because I like in his video, the Angry Video Game Nerd's video, when he's saying, I don't know why in the video game you throw a paper and it breaks a window. That could never happen. And he's doing a demo. He brings out a window pane. He's throwing a paper at it constantly. And then it breaks.
Yeah.
And then he said, so that does happen in real life. Okay. Rampage.
I'll be honest with you. I would love to see a modern port of that, but with with better graphics, B, kind of more of an open world kind of situation.
That'd be funny. You could play
Wouldn't it be?
Paperboy.
Yes, where you can
Midway.
get off your bike. You could I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff you could do, a la GTA.
Granted, Midway is now owned by Warner Brothers Games, WB Games, but yeah, make an open world Paperboy game.
Yeah,
set it in the '80s too.
Yeah,
get like the whole Strangers thing going on. That'd be funny.
Maybe you can peek in the windows, see what's going on in there.
Exactly. Yeah, because things happen in the Paperboy game. Like there'd be a convenience store robbery. You had to thwart by throwing the paper at them. Yeah, Rampage.
Love this. Love the movie they made out of it too.
Probably the best video game adaptation movie ever, I think.
Yeah.
But there you have to play as George, Lizzie, or Ralph, and you got to destroy buildings. Pretty neat.
And you got to eat the people inside.
And you get your energy back.
Yes.
I'm sorry, nothing's better than eating.
The guy shooting at you, you should be able to eat him.
And if you busted open the sign, you'd get electrocuted and get thrown off the building. The idea was you wanted to destroy all the buildings.
Yep.
Before the end of the stage. This was great fun. And the reason I bring all these games up is back in the 80s, I know a lot of the Japanese games get a lot of attention, but there were a lot of American games that were also pretty neat. And I felt that these games had their own style to them. Very goofy, There's a sense of humor when it came to these games. But of course, here's the big one. This was Gauntlet.
Yep.
Originally put out by Atari, and this was a 4-player game in the arcades. Right?
Yes, it was. I don't think I remember a 4-player console before this one.
No, I don't know if there was one. This was a huge deal when it came out.
Yep. It was really cool. Yeah.
In some ways, is this like D&D meets arcade?
Kind of. Yeah. Definitely a hack and slash.
You have to
dungeon
find treasure,
crawl type
go
of thing,
into the dungeons. Yeah, you have to go into the dungeons and destroy the what are they called? The energy portals the creatures came out of.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a pretty cool arcade game back in the day. Look at that artwork on the side, huh?
Yeah.
The warrior, the elf, the wizard, the Valkyrie.
Yep.
And there's the original intro screen to that. Look at the blood on the mace, huh?
Yep. Pretty optimistic, use for the mace, but whatever.
And here we go. Look at that. This is the original arcade game. Now I know maybe by today's standards, but back then this was pretty cool. And
I remember you'd have these little you see it on the screen right there. You'd have these little pile of bones, and those little pile of bones would spawn the ghosts.
Yeah.
So, and they'd come out fast. So you'd have to take out the ghosts as quickly as possible, and then try to take out that pile of bones to make the ghosts stop coming at you.
Yeah. You have to destroy those to make them go away. And you can collect treasure, you collect food because you're constantly running out of energy.
But be careful you don't shoot the food, because just as you're about to eat it, you accidentally throw your axe at it and it's gone. Yes.
Did you used to play this in the arcade? I'm kind of curious.
I
Would
did.
you have to get a buddy to play with you, or if some stranger was playing it, you would just join in?
You could.
Okay.
It was in the arcades that I tended to go to. It would be like, hey, do you mind if I jump on? Yeah, go ahead, jump on. And that'd be fine. But if it was a slow day, and sometimes I was there on pretty slow days, it's like, I'm just all on my own. Guess I'm going to do my best. But this is also the first. See, it says insert coin, and this was one of the first games that I remember where you could pump quarters into it to keep the game going.
Yeah.
And I pumped way too many quarters into this game. Let's put it that way. It was kind of like like a casino addiction, except for kids.
Yeah. But look at those graphics, huh? You got the ghosts coming after you. It's not just ghosts. You fight goblins, and I think demons come at you at other levels too. This would eventually get home ports. This here is the NES version. Yep. This was one of these illegal NES carts. These were not officially licensed by Nintendo. These were put out by Tengen, who I believe that was owned by
so
Atari.
they didn't have the relationship like Activision did with Atari.
Well, ironically, yeah, funny. It's the same thing, except that ironically, this time Atari is the one bringing out the illegal cards.
I see.
Whereas Atari had to deal with Activision bringing out the legal cards on their consoles.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so this is Gauntlet. The NES version, my friend of mine had it. Not bad. Serviceable port of the arcade game. Doesn't look quite as good as you can tell.
Right.
From what I've read online too, it's the Sega Master System port is actually rather good. I've seen footage of it online. It's actually pretty decent port. This was the competitor for the Nintendo Entertainment System, was the Sega Master System. This was before the Sega Genesis came out, but this was actually a pretty good port. Do you like that artwork?
Well, it is what it is.
It is a little too. I think this had the better artwork, don't you think? With the
absolutely.
But this game is actually pretty good. If they ever make a Sega Master System Mini like they did the Genesis Mini, they got to put this version of the game on there. They got to do that.
Yeah.
Now, you said you've played a port of it on the Commodore 64. Is that right?
No, I knew that it existed. I wanted it and never got it.
I see.
So
was it just not available at the stores you shopped at?
I may not have campaigned for it as hard as I could have with Santa Claus. I was probably more focused on the Star Wars and the stuff.
I see. It's okay. I'll have to look up. I know that there's a gentleman. I should post a link in after the stream is done. He did a very good retrospective on each Gauntlet game and all the various ports, and he talked about this. He said the Sega Master System was better, but he talked about I think there was an Amiga port and an Atari ST port. Yeah, Gauntlet 2.
I knew there was a Gauntlet 2. I don't know if I ever played it.
Gauntlet 2, and here you go, 4-player. They would also release two-player versions of the cabinets too. So if you're at a laundromat, the person doesn't want to spring for the big 4-player, you could at least get the 2-player version in there.
Yeah.
There's the intro screen. Don't you love that?
Yeah.
Love the Valkyrie. This looks very 70s era D&D to me.
Definitely. No doubt.
The wizard with the stars on his robe, everything.
Yep.
I think the graphics have been spruced up a little bit, looks like. So there we go. Same thing. 1 coin equals 750 health. You get 50 more health. Look at that. I keep having the ghost. This did get ported to the NES. This port was actually an official port, so it wasn't Tengen releasing a illegal version again. This was an official NES port of Gauntlet 2.
Well, maybe Nintendo realized where they had fallen short and missed the boat and decided maybe we should do this thing.
Yeah, and Mindscape put it out, but yeah, they put it out officially under license. Screen is similar. the one guy doing the reviews complained that the Valkyrie and the Warrior and the Wizard all are in blue, where they're all supposed to be different colors. What are you doing with the citrus screen? But it looks pretty close.
Yeah.
I have this game myself. This is actually an excellent arcade port. I mean, the graphics don't look like the arcade's graphics, but they look pretty good for an NES game. And more importantly, all the sound effects are there, like all the voiceovers, like
"Oh yeah,
grab key to open door." You know, the
right.
the weird guy in the background. So you never played Gauntlet 2, huh? It was pretty good. It was more of the same, basically.
I was just gonna say, if I did, I probably didn't even realize it was a different game.
This I never got a chance to play, unfortunately.
What are they? They skip over Gauntlet 3?
I'll get into that in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Gauntlet 2 on the NES 2. The big thing about this was actually 4-player on the NES. If you had an NES 4 score, you could plug 4 controllers in and actually play this 4-player.
Wow.
And okay, you want to know about Gauntlet 3 now? I didn't even bother doing a presentation of it. Okay. There was a Gauntlet 3 released for the Amiga, which is like this weird isometric Gauntlet game, which I never played, and I don't know if anybody else has. It's weird. And then for the Atari Lynx, the Atari portable game console, there was Gauntlet: The Third Encounter. And nobody knows which one they're counting as Gauntlet 3.
Oh,
you have two different Gauntlet 3s. Apparently, Gauntlet 3: The Third Encounter was originally an Epix game that, I think the people that made, the Impossible Mission games and California games, I think they were working on a game, and then Atari just co-opted it and turned it into a Gauntlet title, even though it's not exactly the same. But
I see.
And you could play as a robot and a cowboy and a football player in it.
Oh, jeez.
Warrior. No, I didn't even bother doing this one. No, it's funny. I think if you play as the football player, you throw footballs at the...
That almost sounds like a parody of Gauntlet.
It almost felt like one. I mean, it wasn't bad, though, for what it was. But here's Gauntlet 4 for the Sega Genesis. I want to make a point that this 4 here, this is kind of a lie. In Japan, this game was simply called Gauntlet because what this was a remake of the original Gauntlet using the full power of the Sega Genesis 16-bit hardware. Notice that this is also 4 players. If you had the 4-player, I guess, expansion for the Sega Genesis, you could play this 4-player.
Yeah.
And notice how the 4 in the background, but the title screen is the same. Like I said, in Japan, they didn't even put the 4 on there. I think they put the 4 on there because they were afraid that people wouldn't buy it if it simply just said Gauntlet on it. But whoever did buy it, they got their money's worth because what this is considered like one of the definitive versions to play, the definitive versions of Gauntlet. It has all sorts of extra modes. You can play the arcade version. You can play a brand new quest mode.
Graphics look great.
They do. And the music is excellent.
Yeah,
it really pushing. It has that it has. I don't know how to describe it to you. If you listen to it, it has a very 80s sword and sorcery feel to it. And they were really doing well with the Genesis sound chip. But look at this. This is excellent. There's a dragon. I find out later on that M2 made this. M2 is actually a Japanese programming team, and they like to. They were the ones that when the Sega Genesis Mini 1 and 2 came out, I was telling you about those. They're the ones that did the emulation for those mini consoles because they're very about making things as perfect to the original version as you can. And sometimes they like to bring out older arcade games and put them on different hardware. Like on the Sega Genesis Mini, they made a new version of a Fantasy Zone for it. Sure. Even though it was never released on the Sega Genesis. And I think this was the first time they ever tried doing that. They must have been huge Gauntlet fans, even though it was an American game, and they made their own perfect port of it. So I never got a chance to play this, but it looks amazing. And I don't know if they're ever going to make any more of those mini Sega Genesises, but if they do, please, Sega, put this game on there.
Right.
Yeah, it looks excellent. But that's it. I just wanted to share, stop screen. Okay. Space Invaders.
Yeah.
Very good.
Real quick, let's welcome Nathaniel Arvin to the stream. Hope you're having a great evening, and hope you enjoy the stream. If you do, hit that like button and hit the subscribe button.
Gauntlet 3 wasn't that good. I tried it and didn't like it. I don't know which one you mean, the computer version, because
sounds to me like either version is probably something I wouldn't care for.
The Lynx version is goofy. I think if you don't look at it as a Gauntlet game, you'll have a good time. It just looks just looks like it went so far away from the original.
I just have a hard time with if I get a game thinking it's one thing and it turns out to be another. I feel like I got bait and switched.
Yeah, Joust. I remember when there were only 5 films up for Best Picture. Yeah, we'll get to that later in the night.
Yep. We'll
Trust
get
me,
there.
though. But yeah, just wanted to say Zaxxon was fun. Anyone remember Tail Gunner? I don't remember Tail Gunner. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Space Invaders. The thing about Space Invaders that would get ports to different systems didn't have a port on the NES, at least not in the United States. It did have a port on the Genesis and had a port on the Super Nintendo too. So I have those, but yeah, I tried the computer version. Oh, the computer version of Gauntlet 3. I've seen screenshots of it. It just looks bizarre to me. It's like it's not top down. It's like semi 3D, like the characters walking across.
Yeah.
It just they probably just should have called it Gauntlet, but they were afraid it wouldn't sell. But
yeah.
Anyway, but you lost a lot of money on this game, I take it.
I did. I probably could have. I probably could have saved my money and bought a good port of it, but yeah, didn't.
For those of you interested in playing either of the Gauntlet games now, for the PlayStation 3 and for the Xbox 360, they released a disc called Midway Arcade Origins. If you own any of the Xbox consoles, you can buy this on the. You can buy it digitally off of the Microsoft store too. You can actually buy Midway Arcade Origins. It contains Gauntlet 1 and 2, plus a host of other arcade classics if you're so interested.
And there's some PC emulators out there too.
Oh, sure.
You can.
I would imagine you could buy there. It's on MAME. I could imagine. Yeah.
There's even some web-based ones out there.
You can play Gauntlet like through a web browser?
Yep. It's probably a knockoff version, but yeah.
Cool. But it's amazing it never came out for an actual Atari console, though, unless you count the Lynx, which I don't because it's Gauntlet the Third Encounter, which is not a Gauntlet game. But anyway,
I'm with you.
It almost seems like they used the game with the same engine, but it was a completely... Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. But that's it for good old days.
Yep.
Okay, but I just figured I'd wrap it up. I don't know. I was feeling nostalgic about Gauntlet. Now we have to talk about the news.
Xbox?
Well...
Seems like a good pivot place. You were talking about Xbox before. We'll get into it.
We're not going to do the Carbon story. We'll do that next week. I'll have enough to rant about that. We're talking about the Hogwarts Legacy controversy.
Yeah.
Deleted scenes. Have you heard of Hogwarts Legacy?
I have.
Yeah. Okay. In case the chat hasn't, though, it's a new open world video game set in the Harry Potter universe. It's interesting because it takes place in the 1800s in Hogwarts. So it's a different headmaster, different characters, so they don't have to be pigeonholed to the world that existed in Fantastic Beasts or the other Harry Potter books and movies. But apparently there's controversy, but let's start off with the Xbox story. All right.
Yep. There you go.
All right. So Xbox head Phil Spencer applauds developers for releasing games in culture of cancellation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do the what you need to know because it summarizes a lot. The New York Video Game Critics Circle recently hosted its 12th annual New York Game Awards show. During the show, Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer was granted the Andrew Yoon Legend Award. Spencer's acceptance speech discussed his origins as a gamer and the joys of gaming. However, Spencer controversially praised developers for releasing their games amid the quote-unquote current culture of criticism and cancellation. Today, as creators, as leaders, as world builders, our greatest responsibility is to inspire and invite joy, Spencer continued. We, all of us here today, all of our teams around the globe, we are all a part of creating this echo effect of joy. Our creators who bravely and intentionally release their visions to the world, particularly in the current culture of criticism and cancellation. Our players who bravely and intentionally carve out time for our games to invite, rest, and rejuvenate their lives, and business leaders. We are called upon to have the courage to protect and nurture this collective joy. My first reaction was, it's a good start.
Yeah.
I needed this conversation 8 years ago.
I agree.
Because between some of the gaming journals out there and...
Heck, now we need that in all areas of entertainment.
Yes.
Can we remind these companies that you are providing a service for which you want our money? So it's probably not a good idea to bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah. So this almost seems like a calling card from the CEO, even though he's not getting specific.
Yeah.
Which I wish he would. I want to know which developer is getting criticized, who's getting canceled. I wish he would have gotten specific here.
I
But
don't.
it's a start.
I will give him the benefit of the doubt that this is a shot across the bow, saying perhaps this is the way things are going to be. And if you want to keep doing business with us, you better understand what I'm saying. If I need to get more specific, I will talk to people directly, and they won't be working with us anymore.
I am thinking, though, I suspect, and I don't know if this is what he meant, but I suspect that these comments are in regards to a certain video game coming out called Hogwarts Legacy. I think
Could
this
very
game
well
has
be.
been getting controversy. I think that, let's be honest, the game companies, they need to sell games on these consoles. That's how they make money, right?
Exactly.
I would imagine. And there seems to be all this controversy surrounding a game called Hogwarts Legacy. I wanted to say hi to Cosmic Squirrel. Welcome.
And let's just say, even though you don't have an article about it today, even the Wakosos are starting to realize. If you heard Kevin Feige's recent interview, even they understand. Yeah, I guess our message doesn't really get out if we're not entertaining people and we're driving people away.
Yeah, I think they've realized. There's been suspicious in some circles online that I watched that they say that they think that that there might be an acknowledgement that they went too far on the other side. You know what I'm saying?
You think, Denozo?
Okay, anyway. Good old Denozo. You know what? I love the episode of NCIS where I think McGee, he was a published author, so he got to go in as himself in some undercover scheme.
Oh, yeah.
And like everyone was recognized, oh, I love your latest book and stuff. And then Denozo says, wow, I ought to write a book. And then Gibbs says, you might want to read one first.
You might want to read one first. Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you. He has some of the greatest one-liners, especially the ones that he comes in saying when you don't even know he's there.
He was always there. Like he would show up in the background.
Let's go, Elf Prince.
Oh yes, when he was dressed as, like, I guess you think that he didn't see the picture, right, of him as the Elf Prince, and then of course
right.
Oh, here's the funny
I
thing where they're saying.
I want to go back and watch the show from the beginning and see how many cell phones Gibbs went through.
Good point. Well, we've got them all on DVD because Zanetta and I are huge fans of that show.
Right on.
Yeah. I love the bit where he's Denozo's talking about something or other. He says something about Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He goes, "Oh, Fast Times at Ridgemont High was this movie." He goes, "Yeah, I know. I love Phoebe Cates."
Everyone loves Phoebe Cates. Anyway, all right, you gonna post the next article?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't realize you were done with the last one.
What are you sipping on, by the way?
Just a Diet Squirt.
I have a Coke. How about you, deleted scenes? You sipping on anything?
Sweet tea.
Sweet tea is good.
I thought for sure he was going to say something like some kind of hard liquor just to throw us off.
You can make sweet tea and hard liquor pretty easily, but
that's true. That's true.
Long Island iced tea. Hogwarts Legacy controversy explained. Why are people boycotting the Harry Potter game? Question mark.
Because people are dumbasses.
Let's move into this. We don't know that people are boycotting the game. Well, how many people are? There have been
a lot of people that probably would not be buying it anyway. Therefore, nobody.
Yeah, so this is the one I'm going to read a bit more from. Okay. There have been loads of Harry Potter video game releases over the past 2 decades, but Hogwarts Legacy looks like it will finally deliver the open world interactive wizarding experience that fans have been dreaming of. Unfortunately, that excitement has been tarnished by some fans who have begun to distance themselves from the franchise due to comments about the trans community made by author J.K. Rowling. The main reason people are boycotting Hogwarts Legacy is because of its association with J.K. Rowling. The Harry Potter author has been accused of making transphobic comments on multiple occasions over the past few years. LGBTQ plus media charity GLAAD had a pretty comprehensive list of all the comments that have been made by Rowling, but the main point of concern is an essay published by the author on June 10, 2020, that listed 5 reasons for being worried about the new trans activism. The essay, Rowling stated that she was concerned about the huge explosion in young women wishing to transition, but also about the increasing numbers who seem to be detransitioning. She also brought up the bathroom debate, which has received plenty of media attention in recent years. When you throw open the doors of bathrooms and changing rooms to any man who believes or feels he's a woman, and as I've said, gender confirmation certificates may now be granted without any need for surgery or hormones, then you open the door for any and all men who wish to come inside. That is the simple truth, she wrote. In response to J.K. Rowling's comment, LGBTQ plus charity Mermaids issued a statement where they called on the Harry Potter author to meet with transgender young people and listen to them with an open mind, open heart before speaking about them. We do not consider it a crime for women to express concern, they wrote. We do, however, consider abusive and damaging when people conflate trans women with male sexual predators and impute sexual criminality to trans identity, suggests that support of a trans child is parental homophobia and misogyny, and share uncorroborated, inaccurate information which severely damages the life of the trans and non-binary people. The developers of Hogwarts Legacy have stated that J.K. Rowling is not directly involved with the creation of the game. They even addressed this in the FAQ section of the game's website, which suggests they know all of this will be a topic of concern for fans. J.K. Rowling is not involved in the creation of this game, but as creator of the Wizarding World and one of the world's greatest storytellers, her extraordinary body of writing is the foundation of all projects in the Wizarding World, they explained. But while she may not be directly involved in creating the game, it seems pretty safe to assume that J.K. Rowling will be earning a hefty chunk of royalties from sales of the game. She does own the Harry Potter franchise, after all. As writer and filmmaker Jesse Earl explained it in a GameStop feature on the topic, it's still difficult for any trans person to look at any element of the Harry Potter franchise and not see the harm that continues to be perpetuated by the woman who created it. This is why many critics are calling for a complete boycott. No matter how removed J.K. Rowling is from the game, she will still profit from its success, and the Harry Potter franchise as a whole will continue to rake in the cash from the continued publicity. All right. So that was just to get everyone up to speed on.
Can I say a couple of things about that? And I'll be very brief.
Go right ahead.
First, didn't know this was going to be open world. That actually sounds really cool.
Yes.
I mean, if it's truly open world.
I think it is. I think that's what.
I hope it is. I hope it. There've been some games that have said they were going to be open world and kind of weren't. But that would be pretty awesome if it is. Mm-hmm. Secondly, what harm has she caused? Seriously. What harm has she caused, whatever community? I'm sorry, but this whole ridiculousness about, words are violence or whatever. It's like, okay, fine. Well, you know what? Then I've been harmed by Mark Hamill too, and he should be canceled too.
We'll be getting to him.
And I'm being ironic about that. I don't believe anyone should be canceled. I can very easily just not follow somebody. Or block them if I really don't ever want to see their stuff in my feed. Because I'm a big boy, and I know how to manage my own personal environment.
I mean, J.K. Rowling is a self-described feminist. She is a British feminist, which is, I guess, different than being an American feminist, especially in regards to this issue.
I think that's less true. I think it's more that she's a previous generation of feminists. She's more of a second wave feminist.
Right.
Yeah,
and the thing is, she's worried about women's safety, and
exactly,
especially when you let bathrooms being open to anyone who can just decide at any point what they are, or maybe I don't know. It's just that's what it seems like her concerns are coming from. So.
My take on the whole bathroom thing, though, is not only is this really ridiculous, but I've been thinking for the longest time, and actually this goes back to like the late 70s, early 80s. My mother and I had a conversation about how she felt it was unfair that, there's never a line in the men's room, but there's always a line in the women's room. And when we kind of brainstormed it, we realized that it's by and large because men have urinals. They can put more facilities in a men's room. You go in, you do number one, wash your hands because it's good hygiene, as Culture Casino would say, and then you're done, right? Very, very less often do you have to actually sit down to go to the bathroom in the men's room, where the women all have to have a sit-down bathroom experience. So that leads to the longer lines. She's like, I wish there was some way that we could even that out. Well, when Nanette and I were at a convention one time, went into the men's room, and it was a nice bathroom.
Yeah.
And you know how you have these stalls, right?
Yeah.
Where you close the door and there's this huge gap and there's a huge gap underneath. And it's like, I hate this, Not like that. Every stall was like its own individual closed door bathroom experience. I'm like, well, then why do you need men and women's rooms? You could just have one huge bathroom space with all these individual stalls. I don't think anyone would have a problem coming out of those and, man standing next to a woman washing your hands, but the stalls are all completely private. Everyone individually. That, I think, would be brilliant. I think I've gone way down the rabbit hole on this one, but,
Can I tell you a funny story?
Sure.
One time, a friend of mine, we were going to see, we were at an independent movie theater. We were actually going to go see the movie Badass, about the making of Sweetback's Badass Song. If you ever heard of that movie. Basically, it was a movie about the making of the first black independent a movie made by, I believe, Melvin Van Peebles. Yeah, Mary Van Peebles played him in the movie. His son played him in the movie.
I know that movie.
It's a good movie. It's probably the best movie ever made about the making of a movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I had to go. We had to go use the bathroom before the movie started, right? I followed my friend in the bathroom, and I'm like, and I'm not seeing any urinals in the bathroom. I'm like, there are no urinals in here, and he's like, oh, they're just fancy here. Don't worry about it. Okay. So I go to use the bathroom, and I'm washing my hands, and a woman opens the door and says, oh, and then she walks out, and then my friend and I look at each other and realize we were in the ladies' room.
If it makes you feel any better, I have a similar story. I was at Twin Peaks Fest in Snoqualmie, Washington. We went to a dinner. I think it was the Friday or the Saturday night, and I really had to go to the bathroom real bad, and I just went ahead of everybody. I went into the bathroom. Same situation.
Oh, no.
I didn't notice that there were no urinals. I went in, and then I heard the female voices, and I'm like, oh crap. Oh,
and what do? You stay in the stall.
And I sat there for a little while. I came out, and one of those voices was my wife, and she's out in the vestibule talking to somebody else. I'm like, I can't stay here forever. I got to leave. So okay, this happened. I put myself together, walked right out. Ladies, as I walked out, my wife's like, is that my husband?
Oh. That's a funny story.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the end of it, or just not bring it up every so often?
Never really talked about it. I mean, we talked about it when we got back. Was that you? Yeah, it was. She's like, oops. Because it happens to everybody. It happens to everybody.
It's a nice bathroom, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Men's rooms when I need to.
Well, yeah, but you usually send me in to check first. Nobody's in there. Okay, go ahead. It's kind of an emergency.
I did that when I worked at the Improv. There was a long line for the ladies' room, no line for the men's room. The women were doing the potty dance.
Yeah.
I checked out the men's room, held open the door, and said, ladies, come in here. Guys,
you
gotta wait.
Yeah. Yeah, and any guy with his salt's going to be like, yeah, okay, I'll wait.
Okay.
I mean, this is how rational people are. You make a mistake, no harm, no foul, right? Oh, you guys, no problem. The guys will wait for a little bit. No problem. But everyone's got to have an attitude these days. So,
yeah.
Anyway, why are we talking so much about bathrooms?
Can we get back on topic, honestly?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, go back. Blame J.K. Rowling. I'm not gonna buy Hogwarts Legacy now. Okay, go ahead. Paste Reset Era bans Hogwarts Legacy discussion article. Okay, you did. Okay, good. I'm gonna have this is gonna be a lengthy excerpt from this article. Video game forum Recent Era bans all discussion of the upcoming open world Harry Potter action RPG Hogwarts Legacy. And I'm like, that's enough for me. That's all I'm going to say from that article. So, Recent Era is known for being very far on the left, and they are banning all discussion of this game. Keep in mind that this is a AAA title. This isn't some niche, weird indie game. This is being put out by a major publisher, Warner Brothers Games, probably what used to be known as Midway Games. And they're putting this game out, and it's coming out for all consoles, and they're pumping a lot of money into this. Simon Pegg is loaning his voice to the game. Did you know that?
I'm surprised he's not boycotting it and getting all bent out.
This is what's getting tricky because, I think one of the actors in the game said, "Oh, I support that community, and I don't agree with J.K. Rowling." But the thing is, they don't care if all the actors stand up and say something. They want this game to fail.
Yeah,
And go to the next one. Go to Asmongold. He's a Twitch guy. He's a Twitch star. I'm not too familiar with the Twitch world, but I liked what he had to say here. He's kind of bringing up, I think, what many gamers feel. Okay, in a recent video, Asmongold explained why he believes those calling for the boycott are going about things the wrong way, probably hurting their cause. According to the Twitch star, those who are forcing others who don't care about the J.K. Rowling controversy to agree with them are just making those people disagree more.
Yeah.
People just want to play a video game. They don't give an F, the streamer explained. They're a school bus driver and they have to deal with shit all day. You think they want to come home and read about how they're a bad person because they're playing a video game?
Yeah. I mean, because let's just call it the way it is. You think you're so high and mighty, and yet you're playing other video games, and you're buying your electric cars, and you're using your cell phones that all use cobalt and lithium that is mined by little kids in other countries, forced to work until they drop dead. Okay, actual slave labor. You actually support slavery when you do this, if you want to take it to that extreme, you know?
Yeah. So, and he goes on, the streamer went on to compare Hogwarts Legacy to the recent FIFA World Cup in Qatar and how some people boycotted it, citing human rights abuses. For Asmongold, choosing not to watch is fine when it's an individual choice. The problem is whenever these people are so self-righteous that they think that they have the moral authority to sit around and tell everybody else what they have to do too. And then they try to shame other people for enjoying something, he explained. And this is my big fear, what's going to happen once this game gets released. There's a reason why Warner Brothers bought the rights to Harry Potter. It's a big moneymaker. It has fans all around the world. And now they're creating an original game in this universe that actually takes place at a different point in time. So if you're ever curious about what Hogwarts was like in the 1800s, here's the game for you. So,
but talk about not having the moral authority. It kind of reminds me of the Ricky Gervais bit from a couple of years back. You know, you people think you're so high and mighty, but you have no leg to stand on here. You know, you better have a completely clean slate before you start pointing the finger, and you don't. You know,
they should have got Ricky Gervais to be in a Harry Potter movie.
Right?
I didn't think
oh my gosh! Right?
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead and paste the next thing.
Yeah.
The reason I'm talking about this, I don't know. I can't predict the future, but
damn. I was going to ask you for those lottery numbers.
I know. Recent era, Twisted Hive of scum and villainy like Kotaku and Polygon. I think they're even worse than Kotaku and Polygon, though I'm not fans of those sites either. Okay. Limited Run Games fires community manager. Okay. Okay. Limited Runs complains. Okay. Limited Run Games fires community manager over their Twitter account. I want to go over what Limited Runs Games is real quick.
I don't even know who this is.
They're like a boutique publisher. Sometimes they will republish an old NES game that's become rare. Like they re-released Shadow of the Ninja and Scat a couple years back. I actually picked up the re-release of Scat. I'm a big fan of Scat. I mean, the video game Scat.
I was going to say, I hope you mean a video game and not
Special Cybernetic Attack Team. It's an acronym. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Anyway, no, but they and sometimes they'll release physical editions.
That's like saying I like water sports. You know, like water polo.
Okay, we're 44 minutes and I'm not worried. Anyway,
here I am hoping this isn't going to get ugly.
Anyways, they also released physical editions of recent.
Someone's going to clip that. I like Scat.
Anyway, like
start the memes right now.
Okay. I am not affiliated with Aged Boomer.
You know something?
What show did I get involved in here? Oh gosh.
This is where I picked to share information. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, they released the physical edition of Teenage Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. So they'll also release new release games that are digital only, but then they'll release a limited number of physical editions of that game. So if you want to get an actual physical copy, they'll release it. So they're kind of what I would call a boutique publisher. So let me go ahead and get back to what I was reading here. And games distributor Limited Run Games has fired their community manager seemingly over public outcry for who they follow on Twitter. Limited Run Games respects all personal opinions, however, remain committed to supporting an inclusive culture, the company said. Upon investigating a situation, an employee was terminated. Our goal as a company is to continue to foster a positive and safe environment for everyone. One of the users, the ex-employee Carolyn filed, Miles Chong, claims it was due to her following both him and the other notable account, Libs of TikTok. Both accounts are kind of notorious online for stirring the pot, yes, but a fireable offense to follow them? Absolutely not. From the looks of it, it all started out after a witch hunt of sorts started a pressure campaign that caused the company to cave and remove the employee from their roster. There are other claims that Lynn was fired for publicly expressing her excitement to play the upcoming Hogwarts Legacy, which some users now consider transphobic due to Harry Potter creator J.K. Rowling's taking a hard stance in favor of biological women.
Again, some people are dumbasses.
Limited Run Games removing their community manager is a mistake and will only embolden these types of people. They see the blood in the water and will never stop and will never be satisfied enough to leave you alone. So this is from this article over at, I believe it was Niche Gamer.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I have to say. Here's what I think. I think she was on Twitter. People knew she worked for Limited Run Games, and they saw that she was excited about Hogwarts Legacy. They then went to go and dig up dirt on her. That's what I believe. I want to make a point that just because you follow people on Twitter like Libs of TikTok or Ian Michaels Chong, it doesn't even necessarily mean that you agree with the person you're following. You may just be looking at them to see what they're saying about certain things. You could be of a completely different political opinion.
Right.
This just struck me as, and maybe she does agree with them, which is fine too. But what did she really do other than explain excitement for a AAA video game that's coming out from a big developer based on a world-loved franchise? That's all she did. And she followed a couple people. I don't know that she even said anything on Twitter to incense them, and they went after her and got her fired.
Right.
I think this is
That's how it is, though, Boomer. It's just, you don't need to do much to set these people off. They are looking for something to get upset over.
Yeah.
It's almost like they live for it.
Yeah. And I think I go back to what was said by the Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, about the cancel culture. And I don't know if, again, he didn't get into specifics. I don't know what exactly he was talking about, but this seems like an extreme stance from Limited Run Games. To be fair, I didn't really buy too much from them anyway, but this, I mean, again, I'm not calling on anyone for a boycott. You do what you want. Okay.
Right.
But just, I don't know. This struck me as rather nasty myself. That's what I thought. But how about you, Troy? Any opinion?
No. I mean, I think I took up too much time with my conversation. I think everyone pretty much knows where I stand already.
If you use a device made with slave labor to say how you think the world should be or complain about some kind of equality, you need to reality check bad. That's what Padawan. I love that handle.
Exactly right.
Limited Runs Games is named aptly. They are going to have a limited run with many people pulling their pre-orders. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to tell you what to do because I'm not. But granted, to be honest with you, though, I'm not a big fan of their product that much either, though, because it takes forever to come out. Okay, last article, I think, with this story. This was basically a big story. This one's kind of funny.
I don't know why, but you're right. It was a big story.
I am waiting. I am telling any of you that like to stream, like on Twitch or on YouTube or any place else. I suspect if you're playing this Hogwarts Legacy game, I don't know if this mob is going to try to make an example of you. I don't know. I don't know how far they're going to go. What does WB Games then do? Do they defend the people who are going to get canceled? That are going to get attacked online for playing this game? I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe nothing will happen. Maybe this is all just hot air. They're hoping no one's going to buy the game and it's going to be a big success. I don't know.
We'll see.
The Left Go Mad after Mark Hamill indirectly supports J.K. Rowling. Yeah. This was kind of Star Wars actor
this
and notorious.
Was funny.
It is.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Star Wars actor and notorious far-left voice Mark Hamill has earned the left's ire after indirectly and possibly inadvertently supporting Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, who herself has been a target of left-wing hatred due to her views on transgenderism. It all started when transgender English news reader and television personality India Willoughby took a shot at Rowling with a simple tweet reading, "I'm more of a woman than J.K. Rowling will ever be." Never one to shy away in the face of an absurd comment. Rowling channeled her signature wit and replied with her own tweet, reading, "Citation needed," a reference to a claim made without any foundation of evidence. Standing off to the side during the exchange was Mark Hamill, who left a like on Rowling's reply, which the left quickly zeroed in on. Now, to be fair, for all I know, Mark Hamill just thought it was a funny comment. He may not have known that India Willoughby was transgender.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, it's a funny quip, whatever. Citation needed. That's funny. I'm sorry. It didn't take long for Mark Hamill to trend on Twitter, showcasing a mix of extreme radical activist attacks against the actor, while everyone else either came begrudgingly to Hamill's defense or pointed out the hilarious irony of the situation. Hamill has forever been one of the loudest and most ignorant leftist voices on Twitter, and now it seems as if his particular chickens have come home to roost. So that's all I have for that one. But
he's a weak beta Wokoso who shoots off his mouth about things he has no idea about, and now he is on the receiving end of the cancel culture. If he had any wit, if he had any backbone, he would have just simply said, "Hey, I support the trans community, but if you're going to get into it with somebody, you better be prepared to put up a fight." She got a good zinger out there. I liked it. Doesn't mean I agree with her. Doesn't mean I take her side.
All J.K. Rowling said was citation needed. She didn't even go into big detail.
It was a clever quip. Look, you need to be able to accept when, even if you disagree with someone, you've got to be able to recognize when they say a zinger that's good.
It's like someone takes a punch at you and then you give them a little push and you get upset, saying, "You touched me." That's what it feels like.
You get into a fight, you better expect to get, clobbered. And when they get a good one on you, you got to get up and go, it was pretty good. Yeah, I got to watch for that.
I think this stupid mob way of thinking needs to go away. Well, that's why I'm bringing it to your attention now. I think the mob has gotten out of control. It's a video game based on a popular... I didn't hear any of them going this nuts when Fantastic Beasts came out, and Rowling was directly involved in that. I don't know why they're getting set off about this game in particular, which he isn't even directly involved with.
Auditor Dredd says the Force is not strong with Hamill. Actually, it is, because the Force is female. So, that's his Force, and that's fine. That's what he is. Congratulations, dumbass. I'm calling Mark Hamill a dumbass, by the way, obviously. Not you, Auditor Dredd.
Okay. Let's see. Pre-production on the next Ghostbuster film kicks off in the United Kingdom. Let's move on to Harry Potter. Anything left to say on this matter?
Not at all.
Keep an eye on it. I'm gonna wait to see if anybody gets hurt over this. I'd like to think that maybe after this game comes down, the mob will find something else to complain about and leave the streamers alone, because I don't know anything about this game. It looks impressive from what I've seen. It looks like a real open world Harry Potter game.
Yeah.
It's single player focused, which is always nice because you don't see that too many. So I actually give them points that they're just trying to create it looks like they're trying to create a solid video game set in the wizarding world of Harry Potter. So we'll see.
Yep. And I'm pretty stoked about this one, obviously.
Pre-production of the next Ghostbusters film kicks off in the United Kingdom.
Yep.
Earlier this month, a Film and Television Industry Alliance listing revealed that the upcoming Jill Keenan directed Ghostbusters sequel, codenamed Firehouse, would begin this March in London, England. The update no doubt surprises some, given that the forthcoming sequel is said to pick up following the events of Afterlife, which saw the Ecto-1 finding its way back into New York City. While some have assumed that the story might travel across the pond, it's not uncommon for the United Kingdom to double as locations within the United States or fictitious cities. A recent example of this includes last year's The Batman, with Gotham City, often modeled after New York City, being filmed in Liverpool. As we near the expected March 6, 2023 shoot date, many of those behind Firehouse, including director uh, Gil Keenan, co-writer and producer Jason Reitman, and cinematographer Eric Steelberg, have taken to Instagram revealing that pre-production is well underway in London. Between the three of them, the filmmakers have made their location pretty apparent, sharing photos of London, with members of the Ghost Corps also reportedly making the trip. Since Firehouse was first announced during last year's Ghostbusters Day celebration, we've been focusing on its pre-production, including the recent news of Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon being set to reprise their roles alongside Finn Wolfhard, McKenna Grace, and Ernie Hudson, in addition to Gil Keenan taking over directorial debut duties from Jason Reitman. Details have been highly scarce regarding the film's plot. The only information thus far stems from the aforementioned Ghostbusters Day celebration, with Keenan and Reitman confirming that New York City would again play a role in Firehouse. You know, a Ghostbusters movie set in England might be interesting. I was just thinking that.
Yeah, I mean, either way this goes, I will be happy with it. If they're using London to stand in for New York or whatever, for filming reasons or whatever, I'm fine with that. But if it turns out that there's a story element that starts out in London, or they have to go to London doing some research or something, that could be really good too. I do think it's about, I mean, Afterlife got us out of New York, got us almost a little bit Lovecraftian by going to a rural area and whatnot, which adds a different kind of spookiness to it. But I think London, a UK setting, could bring a lot to the lore as well. I'm pretty stoked. And the thing that they're kind of saying without it being part of the article is they've already gotten filming underway and they have not moved the release date. It looks like they're trying to get this done quickly, and they're going to, as we used to say back in the old days, make hay while the sun shines. That excites me too. So
make hay while the sun. I'm looking forward to it. How about you, Deleted Scenes?
I am. Ghostbusters Firehouse, as it's currently called, was on my 10 most anticipated movies of the year list video, to be found on my channel. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I know some people might not be familiar with Gil Keenan, but he is someone who worked alongside Ivan Reitman for quite some time. So we're still in good hands with this one.
Yeah. So. I got that impression. I'm not worried about the change of directors. Plus, Jason Reitman's still involved. Remember, George Lucas didn't direct the sequels of Star Wars either, and they still turned out, good. So
absolutely.
And then he came back and directed other ones. But anyway, I'm sorry. I'll be good. I know we have prequel fans in the audience. Let's see here, though. I'm looking forward to Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel. I'm looking forward to see what they're doing too with that animated movie. I'm curious about that. We haven't heard anything. I am too. Yet.
But I'll definitely make sure that you get the news as soon as I hear it.
And I'm looking forward to having a movie, a nice popcorn movie to watch around the Christmas holidays next year.
Exactly. For once. I know.
I guess there was Avatar this year. I didn't catch it, though. Did you see it, Deleted Scenes?
Not yet.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So no one cares.
We will be talking. We're going to be talking a little bit more about Avatar a little bit later on here, because I've got some opinions on that one.
Okay.
Very good.
So next on, M&Ms replaces cartoon spokes candies with Maya Rudolph following woke backlash from Fox News. This is from MSN, by the way.
There is so much wrong with that title right there, but go ahead with the article.
All right. Oh yeah, Gil Keenan did Monster House. That's right. Okay, but yeah, back to the article. Let's see here. After its mascot refresh controversy last year, M&Ms announced Monday that it is taking an indefinite pause from using its candy-coated mascots, saying the last thing M&Ms wanted was to be polarizing. M&Ms said, didn't they do that witch commercial where the witch woman killed the boy who was criticizing the other boy?
Oh no, Wait, was that M&M's or was that
M&M
Doritos?
Mars? It was M&M Mars. It was Twix,
okay.
right? Wasn't that M&M
Oh,
Mars?
okay.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
What do you mean you didn't want to be polarizing? Okay.
Yeah.
M&M said in a tweet that it is instead tapping actor Maya Rudolph as its spokesperson. Someone the brand said America can agree on.
Yeah, I think they're overstating that a little bit.
Not spokeswoman, I take it. Spokesperson. Okay. Representatives for Rudolph did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Rudolph told Today.com that she is thrilled to represent the brand in a Super Bowl ad on February 12th. I am a lifelong lover of the I'm a lifelong lover of the candy, and I feel like it's such an honor to be asked to be part of such a legendary brand's campaign, Rudolph said. An M&M spokesperson confirmed.
Wait a minute. You need a translation on that. I am so glad to have work, and I'm going to say anything positive I can about this product.
An M&M spokesperson confirmed Rudolph's first appearance as its spokesperson will be. Okay, that's an error. Wait a minute. An M&M spokesperson confirmed Rudolph's first appearance as its spokesperson will be during Super Bowl. Well, my Roman numeral thing isn't great, but okay.
Whatever it is.
Something 57th or whatever. Okay. Rudolph's new role. What does the L mean?
50.
Public education. Okay. Never mind. Okay. So I was right. 57. Super Bowl 57. Okay. Rudolph's new role will allow the colorful cast of M&M spokes candies to step away and embrace a new path to pursue other passions, the M&M spokesperson said. M&M spokes candies have provoked the ire of right-wing outlets like Fox News in recent weeks after the company announced a new Flip the Status Quo campaign. The campaign raised money to support women in creative industries and featured limited edition candy bags with the 3 female spokes candies. Fox News host Tucker Carlson railed against woke M&Ms in a recent broadcast. He made similar complaints about the candies last January after M&Ms announced a new inclusive look. The M&M spokesperson did not address this backlash from Fox News directly, but said the brand's decision isn't a reaction to, but rather is in support of our M&M's brand and has been in the works for a while. In its statement Monday, M&M says it definitely didn't think it would break the internet, but now we get it. Even a candy shoes can be polarizing, the brand wrote, which is the last thing M&M's wanted since we're all about bringing people together. The brand said it is confident that Rudolph will champion the power of fun to create a world where everyone feels like they belong. Many respond to the announcement online with shock and disappointment. They fired the M&Ms, one user wrote. Give me back my sexy green M&M, wrote another user. Some fans liked the change in spokesperson, while others felt M&M should have gone with another celebrity. Replacing the all-female M&M spokes candies with Maya Rudolph is some next-level trolling, one person wrote. Maya Rudolph is a living legend, but I'm genuinely curious that if they considered M&M because, well, another user said. That's kind of funny. Others online quickly caught on to the Super Bowl tie-in. It's January 23rd. They literally murdered Mr. Peanut on January 22nd. This is an obvious chumming of the waters for a bad Super Bowl ad plan, one user wrote, referring to when planters said Mr. Peanut died during a pre-Super Bowl ad in 2020.
Yeah.
Was he assaulted?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Let me summarize this all for you. They went woke, they went broke, they decided this isn't a good idea. Let's blame it on Fox News. They're giving way too much credit to Fox News in this. Nobody cares what Fox News thinks. This is because they saw the backlash from the stupid woke crap that they were doing. They saw their sales dropping off and they're like, okay, we need to change something. Now, it's not like they picked the best one to go with if they're trying to get away from it. So in other words, they're trying to keep their foot in the woke pond, but yeah. Get woke, go broke, and this is what they have to do.
I'm not eating M&Ms again.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done. If J. Jonah Jameson doesn't get to be the yellow M&M anymore, screw it all.
Well, I'm not eating M&Ms again. I like the candy characters. They all do personalities. Everybody liked them, but the green M&M was too sexy.
My favorite one was that is it when he says to the green M&M, is it true?
Rounded.
Is it true what they say about the green ones? What do they say? That you're lime? Oh, that's crazy, lime.
I'm sorry, that's funny.
We
can't have fun anymore. It's like someone got offended by that and wrote in.
That's actually, I take that started. Really, I did love that one. My favorite one was the Christmas one, where he's like, "Do you really think that he'll like this?" I don't know. I never met the guy. And then Santa's like, "Oh, Santa? They do exist." And they both pass out. And he's like, Santa?
I like that. I like even the movie theater ads with the M&Ms when the guy hands over an envelope to the yellow M&M and it says, "This is your mission. This is an envelope.
This is an envelope."
And
then they're supposed to have stopped the thing or whatever it is, and it's like, why is it still counting down?
I know, it's funny. If only they sold Smarties in the United States. You have to go to Canada to get them. Do you know what Smarties are?
Well, I guess they're the opposite. They're the anti-dum-dums.
Well, it's kind of. It's not the American Smarties, which are those like fruit flavored things. No, they're made by Nestle, and they're these little round balls
better chocolate is what you're saying.
It's like candy coated chocolate. It's like a competitor for M&Ms.
Yeah.
So, but they don't only sell them in Canada. We don't get them over here. But okay, say lovey.
Just like Kinder Surprise.
What?
Kinder Surprise. They're illegal in the United States.
Really?
Yeah, because American kids are too stupid not to choke on the candy that's inside, or the toy that's inside of them.
Really?
I kid you not. Look into it. Yeah.
All right. Post the next one. Regal Parent Cineworld.
Yep.
Okay. Regal.
This is kind of sad, but we saw it coming.
Has reached out to 30 potential buyers as it pursues sales. Initial bids due next month. Yeah. Regal Parent Cineworld said it's opted to pursue a sale of assets, and the process is well underway, with non-binding bids due February 16th. The company said in a bankruptcy filing this week that it's reached out to 30 potential transaction parties, including many competitors. If the debtors, Cineworld, and its affiliates find one or more of the bids to be a potential value maximizing proposition, a second phase of the process will commence with the solicitation of binding authors. United Kingdom-based Cineworld filed for Chapter 11 in September in bankruptcy court in the Southern District of Texas. It announced early this month that it had started a marketing process to find a strategic or financial buyer. A reorganization was also an option, but the company said it hadn't yet received a response to a restructuring proposal provided to the ad hoc group on December 1st. As a result, the debtors have made the marketing process their major focus, said the filing. Okay. Ad hoc group in bankruptcy is a committee of creditors or bondholders who join together to pursue claims. Cineworld said the process comes as it has succeeded in successfully stabilizing operations and maintaining market share despite box office receipts falling short of industry-wide projections. So what's the translation here, basically? It's a theater company that owns theater chains. It owns the theater chain Regal, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And they're not doing so hot.
Nope. Shocker after the past 3 years.
Yeah. So, again, I was hoping Maverick would pull it through, but Maverick did help, I'm sure, help them, but it wasn't enough. That's what it was.
Yeah, but one movie out of the whole freaking industry.
Let's be blunt. They all need to be Mavericks.
Exactly.
The studios need to be doing their job. That's what, okay.
The studios have been very, very, very slow to get their heads out of their asses. Just saying.
There will be no backdoor, certain outreach parties. Okay. All right. So, yeah, they're not doing well. That's the long and the short of it. AMC is facing some financial stresses of its own. Today, it filed with the SEC that it amended a 2013 credit agreement to further extend the loan covenant suspension to March 31st, 2024. The shares will close down 3%, which were solid. Okay, AMC, another theater chain not doing so hot.
Yep.
So it seems like, are any theater chains doing well now because of everything that's been going on? It's the effects of the pandemic.
I'm gonna reprise my my prediction from a year and a half, 2 years ago. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't start seeing uh, what do you call it? The film companies, the studios start creating their own theater chains.
Yeah,
it may come to that. I mean, I was as mentioned in the green room. I recently went to the theaters, and granted, it was late on a Thursday night, but there were not a lot of people in there. It's a ghost town.
Yeah.
Unless you have one of these bigger films like a Top Gun Maverick. When I went to go see the Black Phone, that screening was almost packed. But I got to tell you, aside from those two movies, any other time I went to the theaters in the last year, it was next to nobody. Sometimes it was just me.
Last movie I saw in the theater was that one with Brendan Fraser in it.
The Whale.
The Whale, yeah. I saw that recently. Not hugely busy. From what I could tell, I was there on a Saturday. I mean, I guess it was busier than usual because it was on a Saturday. There were some people in the theater, but it wasn't packed to the gills. But I guess it was like I don't know, 20 people maybe at the most, maybe in the theater.
No, because I think not only is it partially the pandemic, and I hate to keep going back and saying the pandemic. I think people got so used to movies coming onto streaming now
that they wait.
And the thing, and it is less of a wait these days. I mean, you have movies going to streaming before they even come out on video, when it used to be that the reverse was true. I saw a trailer for this kind of cheesy looking action movie the other day, and I said, I'm not going to go to the theaters to see this. It's going to be out on streaming in a fortnight.
Yep.
And I wasn't wrong. I think it's already on Vudu. So.
Unless it's something like a Maverick where you kind of do want to see it on the big screen to get the full effect. But yeah, a lot of these movies.
And honestly, Avatar too. Avatar is another one that has clearly made it clear that there is value in films in the theater. But look, I think they're underscoring, and actually this is a good pivot topic. This is very clear evidence that something that I've been saying for the longest time. Actually, Tom Connors has said it much more eloquently than I could over on Midnight's Edge. He's saying that you've got to start thinking through your budget and quit wasting money when you're making these films and doing the marketing on them. Keep the costs low, keep the quality high, and you will get profits. Well, I would also argue that if you must spend a lot of money for the big blockbusters, heavy special effects, heavy action films, whatever, then it absolutely must be, your Top Gun Maverick, Avatar numbers. It underscores what a gamble it is, and yes, any gambler will tell you, if you want the big score, you have to make a big gamble, so that's just how business works. And if they're going to be tepid and if they're going to be weak and safe, you're going to have basically where the Marvel universe is ending up right now.
I'm going to be very curious to see how the Ant-Man movie does. I think that'll say a lot, because I look at the Ant-Man movie, and just at least from the trailers, it strikes me as being closer to what we were getting before Endgame came out, or before even got to Marvel. It looks like an old school MCU type movie.
Well, let me put it this way. Do you think it's going to do better than the previous Ant-Man movie?
Good point. I don't think so.
Exactly. Which means,
no, you say it might, so that's fine. Maybe.
I find it very difficult when you look at the trends in the Marvel films overall, when you look at the trends for Ant-Man in particular. There is nothing that tells me that there's an audience for this much anymore.
We'll
and then
see.
Especially now with the ticket prices much higher than they were a couple of years ago.
What are they now at? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
As the thing that I think could make or break it is, granted, while the first movie is good, it's a lot of fun. It's actually a comedy that worked.
Right. Comedy heist film. Yeah.
Yeah, comedy heist film. The second movie, inoffensive, but not very memorable.
Yeah. Right.
Which is why I think the third movie could do a little bit better, because there seems to be more of a story to it. However, if Paul Rudd gets pushed into the background, for...
Like we saw with Hawkeye, like we saw with, everything else that's come out.
If he gets pushed to the background, and it's the female characters, taking over.
Probably,
yeah.
And whatever that means for the movie, there's still the marketing element of that. You do that, the toy sales tank. We're going to be talking about Wakanda Forever and how much everybody's so happy about it at the Oscars, but the toys didn't sell. They lost big time money on that.
So speaking of Oscars,
here's to the shows. There you go.
You used to watch the Oscars, Troy, back in the day, maybe a little bit.
I gotta say, I've never been a fan of the award shows.
I used to be. I mean, not a huge fan, but I used to be, because one, I'd like to see stars sweat.
Yeah.
When you want the Golden Globes is where they have fun. The Oscars were where they would sweat. They would be anxious when those awards came around. And sometimes you would have good Oscar years. I remember one Oscar year where you think you had Titanic, you had L.A. Confidential, you had Good Will Hunting. You had the 5 nominees were all solid, good movies. They were. Some years you think, what were they thinking? But some years they actually get it right.
My mother made a good point about not just the Oscars, but
now you buy the award.
Yeah, now they're pretty much buying the awards. Yeah, that's true. That may have always been true in a way. My mother made a great point about the award shows that may have definitely flavored my my opinions. She said that you can have a star that you really like from the movies, but always remember that celebrity that you like so much is reciting memorized lines that were written by someone else. When you see them in an interview or you see them at an awards show speaking off the cuff, that's their own words. And you realize how stupid these assholes are.
Sometimes. Yes.
My mother's words, not mine, although I do endorse them and agree with them.
All right. So Oscar nominations. And do you want me to head this off, deleted scenes with the article, and then we want to talk about them? What do you think?
Please do.
Or do you just want to read the nominations first? What do you think is the best way to go?
Let's go with the article.
I'll go with the article.
I know what he's thinking. It's your show. Just do your thing.
I know it says it, but he's the guest, and I figure he's got insight. I don't want it to be my show. It's so much weight on my shoulders. It's like crushing me.
Oh, gosh.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Wow. Let's all cry for Agent Boomer. Just read the article, Boomer.
Everything, everywhere, all at once, a twisty sci-fi adventure led the nominations for the 95th Academy Awards on Tuesday morning, picking up 11 nods. It was followed closely by All Quiet on the Western Front, a World War I epic, and The Banshees of Inisherin, a darkly comic look at friendship that unfolds against the backdrop of the Irish Civil War, both of which scored 9 nominations. All 3 films will vie for Best Picture in what is shaping up to be a much more commercially successful collection of honorees than recent years. The Best Picture race contains 2 highest-grossing films of the year, Avatar: The Way of Water and Top Gun: Maverick. Along with Elvis, a musical biopic that scored with audiences last summer, other contenders include Steven Spielberg's semi-autobiographical The Fabelmans, Tar, a drama about an abusive conductor, Women Talking, a look at the residents of a repressive religious community, and Triangle of Sadness, a send-up of the 1% that unfolds partly on a mega yacht. Triangle of Sadness, one of the most divisive films of the year, had a strong showing on Tuesday morning, capturing nominations for his screenplay and for the direction of Ruben Östlund, the Swedish filmmaker who dreamed up the satire. He will compete for the director prize against Spielberg, Todd Field, Tar, Martin McDonough, The Banshees of Inisherin, and the directing duo of Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. Scheinert, excuse me. Okay, Shiner. Okay. Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's a category and dominated entirely by men. The last two director winners, Jane Campion, The Power of the Dog, and Chloe Zhao, Nomadland, have been women, and there were some hopes that Women Talking Sarah Polley might nab a Best Director nod. The nominations were announced at a challenging time for the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences, the nonprofit behind the awards, and the film business itself. Ratings for the Oscars have declined precipitously in recent years, imperiling the broadcast licensing fees, the leading source of revenue at the Academy. At the same time, adult-orientated movies such as The Fabelmans, Tar, and The Banshees of Inisherin have struggled at the box office during the pandemic. Exacerbating the situation is the fact that streaming services, which help fill the void left by the decline in theatrical revenues by providing a platform and blank check for the artists behind them, are also shifting their priorities. Netflix, for instance, has signaled to Wall Street that it will keep content spending relatively flat while it focuses on increasing profits. Okay. But everybody loves a comeback story, and this year's Oscar season has included several of them. Ke Huy Quan, a former child actor best known for his work in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, earned a Best Supporting Actor nomination for his work in Everything Everywhere All at Once. A few years ago, Quan had given up on acting, convinced that his career in front of the camera was over. There's also Brendan Fraser, a former action star whose career was derailed by health issues and personal struggles, but who has reemerged as a powerful character actor with a transformative term as a morbidly obese man in The Whale. He earned a nomination for Best Actor. Both Fraser and Quan will spend the morning fielding congratulatory calls. Others won't have much to celebrate. That's because many of the year's most heralded performers, a group that includes Viola Davis in The Woman King, Brad Pitt in Babylon, and Daniel Deadweiler in Till, failed to make the final crop of contenders. Okay, so maybe we should just go to the things. All right, so Best Picture, we have All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. I think I've only seen two of these, but to be fair, it's my fault since many of them are on streaming. So I could actually... The Banshees of Inisherin actually looked interesting to me. It's about a guy trying to break up with his friend. I don't want to be your friend anymore. That seemed like what it was in the trailer. I'm like, that's actually an original story.
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone do anything like that. All Quiet on the Western Front, I've heard nothing but good things. I've been meaning to watch it. Everything Everywhere All at Once, another movie that I heard was really good. I do like Michelle Yeoh for many years now. I feel bad that she gets stuck on some of these bad streaming series now because I thought she was Hong Kong royalty at some point.
Yeah.
Fabelmans, I'm sure, is fine. It's Spielberg. I haven't seen it. Tar, again, I could watch Tar. Some of these are on streaming right now. I have seen Top Gun Maverick. Triangle of Sadness. I hadn't heard of this one till it was mentioned. That or Woman Talking. I don't think I've heard of either of those. I might have seen a trailer for Woman Talking now that I think about it. But okay.
Those are the two that are probably the most under the radar of the group.
Yeah.
I am familiar with what those movies are because, I am a fan of the cinema. I'm a movie nut.
Right.
I was probably the one person last year who at least knew what Coda was. I didn't see it. It was on Apple TV, as I recall. But
right.
At least I had heard of it and knew what it was. The average moviegoer is not necessarily going to be familiar with the Coda or a Triangle of Sadness, or they probably don't know Women Talking. But in fact, they probably don't know half the list.
Yeah.
And I think that once again goes back to marketing. When you have the budget of like a Top Gun Maverick or an MCU film, you can put commercials out there, every 15 minutes. But if you're a smaller scale production, like a Women Talking, which is, from what I understand, a movie that's pretty much like a one location film. You don't necessarily have the budget to go out there and put ads out every 10 minutes. It's a word of mouth that
sort of
saves
thing.
a movie like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'd heard a lot of these smaller budgeted movies that don't have the budgets for advertising, that they would live on award seasons, because if you at least get a Best Actor nom or a Best Picture nom, then it will pique people's interest. This was back in the day, at least, and they would go out, maybe go see it in a repeated viewing in the theater, or at least rent it, or something, and that would be a way for them to generate revenue for more of these more. I don't want to say artistic movies, but non-mainstream, maybe I would say, and this would allow them to get more of an audience these award seasons. But D. Pensick says 10 films up for Best Picture is way too much. Bret Easton Ellis, I listened to a podcast of his one. He made a point that he thinks that the 10 nominations happened because when The Dark Knight came out, it didn't get nominated in the 5-picture run, and he says the movie should have gotten nominated. It was, for all intents and purposes, the best movie that came out that year, at least from a production standpoint, acting standpoint, everything. It just should have gotten a nomination. Didn't mean it had to win Best Picture, but it needed to get a nomination. And it might have been because it was a quote-unquote superhero movie that they weren't going to give it a nomination.
Right.
And now I think they realized that mistake, so I think they added more Best Picture noms, so you can put more popular films and at least generate interest in people watching the actual program. So
the thing a lot of people might not remember is that back when the Oscars started, which was in 1927, if I remember correctly, the first few years there were actually more than 10 nominations, and in some cases as high as 12.
I didn't know that.
So the fact that there are 10 nominations now is not entirely out of the realm of possibility for an Oscar. I would be curious now if they had just kept it to 5. Which 5 out of the movies this year would still be in there? Would Top Gun have made it in?
Okay.
If it was just 5, and I don't think it necessarily would have.
I think Top Gun has to get a nomination. I mean, I know maybe you say wouldn't if it was 5. Top Gun is the one thing saving movie. Was one of the movies that was trying to save movie theaters this year.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to denigrate Top Gun. It's my favorite movie out of what I saw this year, hands down. I've seen that movie over a dozen times.
Yes,
honestly, have. So I'm not degrading it. I'm just saying that it's not a movie that in previous years they necessarily would have gone with.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Because it used to be that you would have like the 4 kind of quote unquote, artistic type movies. Like, say for example, like a Chariots of Fire or a Gandhi, and then you would have. I love those movies too. I was kind of a weird kid. What movie do you want to go see this week? 9 years old. I want to go see Gandhi.
Yeah.
And at 9 years old, I sat through 3 hours and 11 minutes of Gandhi. Didn't get up. Watched the movie straight through. Now, and I went off on a little bit there, but the point was, you have the Chariots of Fires, you have the Gandhis, you have the Out of Africas, and then they will put like a Raiders of the Lost Ark in there.
Yeah, well, like Star Wars got nominated the year it came out,
right,
which I thought was interesting. The first Star Wars, which you wouldn't see that today, but and that didn't win, but at least got a nomination in one of the 5. Yeah. Which do you think would be excised, though? I think would Elvis be knocked off this list? Maybe it wouldn't be because it's still a musical, and maybe they want to put one of those on here. I
think Elvis would get in because it's the biopic. It's the
you're
biopic
right about that.
There's like I said, going back to Gandhi is the biopic. Chariots of Fire, even though it's not really thought of that way, is a biopic.
Right.
True.
Well, in the way, the Fabelmans is also a biopic, right?
Also,
Because
I think the Fabelmans would get in, because it's Spielberg. So
Tar would get in. So let's see here. We have Elvis, Tar, the Fabelmans. They would all be nominated. I don't. Would they kick out Everything Everywhere All at Once because it's kind of science fiction? They might knock that one out. They might not include that one if it was just 5. I didn't think about that.
It's and again, it's a movie. It's not a movie I've seen yet, so I'm just going off of trends from recent years. As I said in the green room, I am the anti the science, so to speak. My opinions are simply based on how the Academy has trended through the years.
Right.
Would they keep an Everything Everywhere All at Once? Maybe. It is a movie that is the quote unquote the crowd pleaser. It's a movie that most of the reviews that I've heard anyway seem to like it, and but it could get caught in a situation of the movie with the most nominations, but it doesn't get a Best Picture nomination. That's what happened to Dark Knight. Dark Knight got the most nominations without getting nominated for a Best Picture. It got 8 nominations, and it still didn't get Best Picture.
That would have been 2009, right?
2008 or 9, yeah.
It's horrifying to think that it was that long ago that the Dark Knight came out. I think of it as a new movie, and I'm like, no, it's not really. It's not a new movie anymore, you old man.
I remember that movie like it was yesterday. 1982.
Exactly.
Salad days. I'm sorry. Okay.
No,
I don't know.
We're in the same boat there.
Banshees of Inisherin might get a nominee. I could see that being on here. All Quiet on the Western Front. There you go.
All Quiet would definitely get in.
Yeah,
I think.
Have you seen that one?
Oh, I have not. I would love to.
Netflix, right?
I don't have Netflix, so anything that's on Netflix just automatically assume I haven't seen it.
Okay.
But and you know what you did, Netflix. Come on. Without going too far into it. But I think All Quiet definitely gets in because it's what I refer to as a pedigree film.
You know what's horrifying about some of these movies that are tied to streaming? I wonder if any of them are going to get video releases at any point.
Yeah.
Like, are you going to be able to buy it on DVD or Blu-ray or even on a digital outlet like iTunes or a Vudu or something? I don't know.
And this is something that we discussed on the Physical Media Show.
Mm-hmm.
Is the fact that Netflix is very stingy when it comes to releasing their content onto video. I mean, obviously, Stranger Things has gotten a video release, but it's very much
Cobra Kai too.
Cobra Kai as well, yeah. Which another one I need to catch up on. But when you go to another streaming service, like for example, Shudder. Shudder is very good at putting their content out on video, and it's because the powers that be over at Shudder know their fan base and know that their fan base wants physical copies. So they're very good about putting that out there. A movie that we we talked about previously in the past, Boomer, Watcher.
Oh, I meant
to criminally underrated movie.
I'm sorry. I remember. I even told you to watch it, and I this was right before the hurricane hit. I was going to say I should do something in your channel. We
were talking about possibly doing a show about it.
We need to put that. Maybe we'll do that again. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but the point is that was a Shudder film.
Yeah, it was excellent. I thought. Yeah,
and very good.
Was that based on a Dean Koontz story?
No, it's not Watcher in the Woods. No.
Not the Dean Koontz. No.
Okay.
Even though Dean Koontz did Watchers, but it had Corey Haim in it, if I recall correct.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. No, this is more akin to Rear Window.
Oh, okay.
It was creepy. It's almost like Rear Window in reverse. Actually, it's Rear Window in reverse. I didn't think about that. Yeah, it's it's a nice little thriller horror movie, and I do recommend it. Especially, it really channels into that the American lost in Europe. Even and the whole thing is, even though the character in it, she had Romanian ancestry. She's at this point, when you're in the United States for a couple generations, are you really Romanian anymore? Are you American? And then you go back to the country, and it's alien to you. And it's just it's a fascinating little movie. And I am going to anyway, like I said, maybe someday, if you're still up for it, we should do a discussion of that movie again on your channel. That might be interesting. But,
sure. Yeah.
What was I going to talk about though? But yeah, I mean, the nominations, it's I don't know. I think it's a better year than we've had for a while, don't you?
For a while, for sure. Yeah.
These movies, maybe all of them are worth watching. I've seen. Well, Elvis, I saw it was all right. It had Tom Hanks in a very disturbing role. A lot of makeup. He played the Colonel. The Colonel from.
And it's really the first movie and this is just based on, again, another movie I haven't seen, but based on, and that's something that this, to me, to go off on a little bit of a tangent again. Usually by this point, I have seen most, if not all, of the Best Picture nominees. So far this year, I've just seen Maverick. So I have some catching up to do, and I'm just basically working off of what other people have told me about it on streams or reading reviews. And when it comes to this particular version of Elvis, that it does, this hinges more on Colonel Tom Parker than the other previous movies have, where he's either just in a few scenes or he's in the background, or maybe they don't mention him at all. With this film, from what I understand of it, it's pretty much like his point of view, and it's kind of done like an unreliable narrator kind of thing.
For a lot of portions, yes, and it's interesting. It kind of slips back and forth, but it's interesting seeing him. He's a very disturbing character in this movie. I want to say he's like Salieri was in Amadeus. It reminds you of that.
And Amadeus, again, another movie that I purposefully went to the theaters to see. 11 years old to see. I want to see Amadeus. Okay, and just I remember one of the greatest single screen performances of all time, F. Murray Abraham as Salieri, and it's great, and just watching him just slowly go mad.
Do you know what's fascinating? Fascinating about his performance as Salieri, and I don't know. I think I know why they picked him, but we had a how like sometimes for school you'll get like an actor coming by and they impersonate a famous person from history. We had an Amadeus impersonator, right? Mm-hmm. And he played the piano he had like a little presentation, and he was talking about people he knew in his life, and these men were not my friends. And he pointed to a painting of Salieri, and I looked at the painting of Salieri, and apart from like a bit of a beard that the painting he had in the painting, he looked exactly like F. Murray Abraham.
Yeah,
like he like it's almost like F. Murray. Maybe they picked him because he looked like Salieri. Maybe F. Murray Abraham made himself up to look just like Salieri. did in paintings, but he looked almost spot on. It was incredible.
And to do a little callback, that version of Amadeus is based on a stage play, and who played Mozart? Mark Hamill.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill's, whatever we said about him prior, he can act. He has range. Yeah, he's.
I mean, go back and see the Big Red One, and he's in there with Lee Marvin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's true. He's when he's not himself, he's pretty good, and that pretty much sums up acting, right?
Yeah.
Still remembering begging my mom my way to see Saving Private Ryan in the theaters. So that was a good experience. By then, I was old enough to go to the movies on my own, so I went and saw Saving Private Ryan. I went to see a lot of movies on my own. Back basically when I was 18 and could drive, I would $4, $5 matinee. I would see movies by myself. I used to do that. I used to go to the movies all the time. I don't do that as much these days, which maybe I should get back in the habit of doing. But movies actually used to be a lot less expensive to go see back in the day too.
Well, like you said, $4 or $5 matinees.
Yeah.
In some places, 1 or 2.
I'll be blunt. I know they don't want to hear this, but maybe theater chains need to do cheaper days of the week just to get people into the theater. Maybe on the weekends you raise the price, but maybe have cheaper days. I mean, I know some chains do that. They have like a Tightwad Tuesday, but
only the second run theaters really have the flexibility to do that. First run, it's pretty much dictated to them by the what do you call it? The studios, and that's part of the problem.
Okay,
it is part of the problem indeed. Yeah.
Okay, so we have Best Director, Mark McDonagh, Banshees of Inisherin, Daniel Kwan, Danielle Chenard for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg, The Fablemans, Todd Field, Tar, Ruben Oslot, Triangle of Sadness. So it seems like all the Best Picture noms are having Best Director noms here.
Well, the best way to pick Best Picture, what I should say is pick who's going to win Best Picture, I should say, is look for the movies that have a nominated director, are nominated for screenplay, have 1 or 2 acting nominations, and it also has a film editing nomination. If you have those 5, you got a shot.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to...
go ahead. Mm-hmm. Okay. I was going to say, which of these has it? I was going to ask, yeah.
Well, I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to win. It's a movie that's across the board has won most of the critics' awards. It won the Golden Globe, I believe. I think it won Critics' Choice as well. Well, Maverick has also won some Best Picture awards, but I don't. When it gets to the Oscars, I think it could possibly get shut out.
Does the Academy like Tom Cruise, or do they not like him?
Well, the Golden Globes certainly don't.
Okay. I was just curious of the Academy because
does the Academy like him? It depends on how many Scientologists they have.
So yeah, maybe that could be. It depends because I know DiCaprio. I don't know if they like him anymore. I think he might have pissed them off at some point because did he not show up when he wasn't nominated to the award ceremony one year, and I think that might have teed them off. I don't know if they ever got over that or not.
DiCaprio and Cruise have both been nominated a number of times. There you could make a case for them for any movie. One movie that I would like to have seen Cruise get nominated for was Tropic Thunder.
And he brilliant comedy.
He won the Golden Globe, but he didn't get nominated for the Oscar. But he's been nominated. Born on the 4th of July. Jerry Maguire.
Oh, that's right, Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, you know.
So okay.
I think he would really have to do something that was so far away from anything that he's done before. I think what might happen with Tom Cruise in the Oscars is, I mean, don't forget, he is nominated this year as a producer for Top Gun. So he's in there. He got a nomination. He just didn't get the acting nomination. I think what's going to happen with him is that they're going to wait until he's almost dead and give him like an honorary award.
Okay.
Or
maybe,
you know, or they're going to give him that he's going to get it kind of years down the line. I kind of thought they were going to do that with DiCaprio there for a while, because he was like getting nominated for every other movie he was in, and I think you could have made a case for him winning on a couple of occasions. I think the reason he didn't win for his first nomination, which was What's Eating Gilbert Grape, which is great because there were a lot of people who thought that they got like a Down syndrome actor. He was
that good. Okay.
Yeah, and I think he could have made a case for him winning that year. That was a tough year because he also had Ray Fiennes for Schindler's List, and he had Tommy Lee Jones for The Fugitive, who actually did win, and you had John Malkovich for The Line of Fire. That was a rough. And then you had the kid, in there.
Yeah.
That was
rough.
Yeah, so that's probably why.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's weird because and I think that's why Austin Butler's not going to win, even though some people have thought that maybe he might. But I mean, certainly he's in the running. But I think that's the reason Austin Butler's not going to win, because they're going to say, okay, he's a kid, he's going to be around a while.
I can already tell you, best lead actor, we have Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell, The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser, The Whale, Paul Mescal, After Sun, Bill Nighy, Living. I think Brendan Fraser is going to take it. And I haven't even seen the other movies, and I'm not even saying that they're not worthy or not even. Well, I saw Elvis, but I think they're going to give it to Brendan Fraser just like he got. I think Brendan Fraser is a comeback story. Yeah. And I think it is a strong performance. I did see this movie. I think they'll probably give it to him. I could be wrong, but I just suspect they're going to give it to him. What do you think?
I think he's got the best chance.
I think he's going to take it.
It's a strong list. It really is. You can make a case for any of them. The surprise is probably Paul Mescal, because After Sun, again, not a big film. It's this small independent film that got word of mouth.
Yeah.
So he's probably the surprise here. It'll give the movie a jump. I understand it might get a theatrical release, so that could help. Tuning in is saying in the chat that Living is a remake of a Kurosawa film, Akira. Yeah, it is, and which itself was a Tolstoy story previous to that. So it's got some literary chops, and that's why. And I know I'm jumping. We're jumping categories again. I think that's why it might win adapted screenplay.
Yeah. Best lead actress, though, this is tougher, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You have Kate Blanchett for Tar, Ana de Armas Blonde, Andrea Riseborough to Leslie, Michelle Williams Feldman's Michelle, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mm-hmm.
I have a three-way tie here because I think Kate Blanchett probably putting a strong performance. Anna de Armas, though, she's a rising star. I think they're going to want to see more from her. Michelle, you also actress with a huge legacy behind her, so I could see any of those three. And probably go to Kate Blanchett, though, I'm thinking. But what do you think? It's hard to say.
Yeah, but I think they're going to look at her and say she's won already. And they might want to go with somebody new. Because, I don't think... I think she's the only one in the category who's been previously nominated. Correct?
Okay. I think so.
So, I think the fact that she's actually won twice already, right? Because she was lead actress for Blue Jasmine and supporting for The Aviator. So
yeah, but that means they could still give it. You go ahead.
They could,
They could give it to her 3 times. It wasn't Meryl Streep receiving award after award
3 times. Meryl Streep, I think, won 4.
Yeah,
which I think ties the most. So they absolutely could. The question is, will they? But and the thing that we've also got to think about, and kind of the controversy that's sort of surrounded this category now, is the Academy is now looking into whether or not Andrea Riseborough's nomination was bought.
Oh.
Because now, yes, they now suddenly care about nominations being bought when they let Harvey Weinstein do it for fucking years. But, among other things they let him do. But that's a different show for another day.
All right.
But the thing is, so if they decide that, she had some friends behind the scenes who maybe greased some wheels for her, and one of those friends being Kate Blanchett, that could maybe spell doom for both of them.
So then it will probably be either Anna de Armas or Michelle Yeoh. They're probably the 2 contenders then. Unless they do the nominations again, yeah.
I think Michelle Yeoh is going to take it.
Yeah.
If they the thing with Anna de Armas stuff, and we all love her, and I'm not denigrating her. Mm-hmm. The film is quote unquote problematic.
Huh.
It's a dark movie, and will they see past that to get to her performance, or also for the same reason I think Austin Butler is not going to win, Anna de Armas may not win, because they're going to think she's got time.
Yeah.
There will be other opportunities. I think Michelle Yeoh is going to.
It should just be based on what the best performance is, not about whether or not there's time. Now, granted, Michelle Yeoh may have the best performance of the year. Maybe they're equal. Maybe I don't know. I get giving it to Michelle Yeoh because she has such a huge history in cinema that it's probably time she got an award. But remember Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which I think she was nominated for that, wasn't she, years back?
No.
She didn't get nominated for Crouching Tiger? She didn't. I remember, though, Siskel and Ebert wanted her to get a nomination. They were petitioning the Academy to nominate her.
Yeah, because they said
she had to learn a whole other language for her performance. I think it was Mandarin. She didn't speak Mandarin. Mm-hmm. She had to learn it for that role. All right, so we got Best Supporting Actor: Brendan Gleeson, Banshees of Inisherin; Brian Tyree, Henry Causeway; Judd Hirsch, The Fabelmans; Barry Kuhn, Banshees of Inisherin. That's 2 for Banshees. That's probably going to cancel them out. And Ke-Huy Quan, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I think he won Golden Globe, right?
He's won pretty much every supporting actor award.
So he'll probably take this.
He'll sweep. He'll take it.
Judd Hirsch, though, that'd be interesting because he again, long history, but I guess it's cool that he got nominated at all. Yeah.
It's the Judd Hirsch nomination is interesting because this is something that I've heard people actually kind of complain about. All right. Okay. Well, for one thing, it's his first nomination in about 40 some odd years.
Yes.
Because he was nominated for Ordinary People back in 1980, I believe that movie was.
Sure.
But there are people who are saying, yeah, but he's only in like one scene of the movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
He may be in more than that. But people are saying, well, he's only in one scene of the movie. Ned Beatty was in one scene in Network and got nominated.
Network.
I'm
as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. Right? No, that wasn't him.
Right. Well,
he was in him. No, you were the forces of nature. You were tampering with the forces of nature. I think that was the scene.
You're tampering with the forces of nature.
I remember that. Yes.
He's the network head. Yes. Kind of.
There is no world anymore. Yes.
And to go back to Mulholland Drive, if Troy, to go back to Mulholland Drive for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Ned Beatty's character in Network would be the cowboy.
Wow. Okay. I'm with you. I got you.
Yeah. He will call the shots and he will fire the shots, and if you see him twice, you're screwed. But yeah. It's cool to see Judd Hirsch in there. He's a good actor. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I understand he is very good. David Lynch, speaking of which, also in that movie, playing John Ford.
Okay. Yeah, David Lynch.
So,
he could have been.
Yeah. I think our old friend Mr. Round is going to take this award. He's going to sweep. It's a good list. It's a good list.
And supporting actress Angela Bassett, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Mm-hmm.
Hong Chau, The Whale. Carrie Condon, The Banshees of Inisherin. Jamie Lee Curtis, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Stephanie Hsu, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I always find it weird when you have two from the same movie, if that cancels the nomination out for the other actor. I don't know. I haven't seen Banshees of Inisherin. I could see the Hong Chau for The Whale winning, but we'll see. Any of these awards? Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Again, you have someone, Angela Bassett, who's been nominated before, and she's in the category with 4 other actresses who have not been nominated previously. And I know, not once in 46 years has Jamie Lee Curtis not been nominated. First nomination.
Really?
In 46 years of being in Hollywood. Yeah. Okay. First time. And so, I mean, on that basis, maybe she might be the spoiler. But I think Angela Bassett's going to take it. And it's going to be like it's going to be one of the two of them as like a career award.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, maybe, but it's for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which wasn't exactly a well-liked movie, but maybe they'll still give it her. I mean, do you remember?
It might not have been a very well-liked movie, but everybody, whether they liked the movie or not, said she was the best thing about it.
Yeah.
So that could be enough.
Troy, I did want to mention Best Adapted Screenplay. All Quiet on the Western Front, Living, Top Gun Maverick, Women Talking, and Glass Onion, written by Ryan Johnson.
Yeah.
Adapted screenplay. What was it adapted from? What was it adapted from?
Okay, it's adapted because it's a sequel. Sequels are considered adaptations because they're from something that was previously produced or published.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, well, let's hope Rian Johnson doesn't get it, but who knows? I like that Knives Out movie. I watched it on Netflix with the family. Go ahead. What?
Okay, I was genuinely surprised that Top Gun got to this category. I'm very happy, but I'm happy for every nomination that Top Gun got. But so that was a surprise. I was not expecting it to get into that category. But I think Living's going to get it. For what I said previously, it's a remake of a Kurosawa film. It was a Tolstoy story before that. It's a writer who's very good, who's actually a science fiction writer, believe it or not. I think Living is going to win that category, and it's going to be the surprise.
Okay. It looks like Best Original Screenplay is Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Ever All at Once, Fabelmans, Tar, Triangle of Sadness. I almost think the Fabelmans will get it. just so they can hear Spielberg do a speech, but maybe that's just me. I
don't. Well, going back to director, because we kind of we kind of breezed by director.
Yeah, we'll go back over that. Yeah.
I think the best two chances the Fabelmans has is director and music. We have in music John Williams' 56th nomination. He's 90 years old. This is probably going to be the last chance. He did the music for Indy 5. But I think John Williams is probably going to win.
Yeah, let me get those nominations.
Yeah,
because it was John Williams for the Fabelmans. And hold on, oh my goodness, they put that at the end, don't they? Where is it? Original score: All Quiet on the Western Front, Volker Bertelmann, Babylon, Justin Hurwitz, Banshees of Inisherin, Carter Burwell, Everything Ever All at Once, Son Lux, and the Fabelmans, John Williams. Yeah, they'll probably give it to John Williams. Because he tended to get glossed over a lot because there was usually like a musical up or something else. So they'll probably give it to him as like a lifetime thing, probably.
John Williams could be the spoiler in that category, but he won for La La Land, so I think this might be I think they're just going to go with John Williams.
And we have Best Original Song. Applause from Tell It Like a Woman, music and lyric by Diane Warren. Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick, music and lyric by Lady Gaga and Blood Pop. Lift Me Up from Black Panther Wakanda Forever, music by Turns, Rihanna, Ryan Coogler, and Ludwig Göransson, lyric by Thames and Ryan Coogler. Natu Natu from RRR, music by M.M. Kirivana, lyric by Chandra Brosa. And This Is Life from Everything Ever All at Once, music by Ryan Lott, David Byrne, and Mitski, lyric by Ryan Lott and David Byrne. There should all these songs will be performed, correct, at this Oscars?
Maybe.
Or they get rid of that
because
they got rid of that.
They got rid of that.
That's great because that was one of the big draws to watching the show was to see all the songs performed live on air, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the last time I remember them doing it was actually when Lady Gaga won for the song from Star Is Born. I think that was the last time that I remember that. I remember that being done.
Has Diane Warren ever been nominated before?
Oh, many times. She gets nominated.
Has she won?
Every time. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure she probably has.
Okay.
I don't know right off the top of my head, but
because I was going to say of all those names that I heard listed, she's the one I think deserves it the most, just from her body of work, let alone from this year alone.
But
Best International Feature Film, All Quiet on the Western. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. The thing that we got to remember in song, and going back to a movie that has been often brought up here on YouTube, and that's RRR.
Mm-hmm.
And it got shut out of the nominations except for original song. And this could be the place where they decide to award that movie. But again, Hold My Hand could win from Top Gun, because I think that has a really good chance at it, because that theme goes through the whole film. When you've seen it, you know what I mean. But so was it? It's kind of all through the movie, and so it could win. It's a toss-up, and then again, and Troy, like you said, if Diane Warren hasn't won in the past, they might just go for a body of work type of award. But I don't know. That's a category that could go in any one of a number of directions. I'm just I'm just putting it out there based on how the Academy tends to trend. But Boomer, go on. Yeah, next category.
Oh, international feature film: All Quiet on the Western Front from Germany, Argentina, 1985 from Argentina. Close from Belgium, EO from Poland, The Quiet Girl from Ireland. So I know they changed this year's back. I think it used to be Best Foreign Language Film, but now it's international, because they'll take noms from, because there are going to be some movies that are still English speaking but made in other countries, so they changed it to international. Okay, probably All Quiet on the Western Front, I would expect. It's a Best Picture nomination.
It's got the best chance. Argentina 1985, which I understand is a pretty good movie, could get in. It won the Golden Globe. It could be the spoiler. I'd like to see All Quiet get it because of the pedigree. The 1930 film won Best Picture. The made for TV version, I think, won like 8 Emmys or something like that. So I'd kind of like to see All Quiet get this one, kind of sight unseen. But it's there could be a spoiler. They might go in another direction. But the fact that it got all of the other nominations that it did, I gotta think it's going to get at least one of them, and this is probably the best chance. Now, there are people who have also discussed the fact that, how come RRR didn't get nominated and all this? It didn't get nominated because of the very simple fact that India did not submit it. They submitted a movie that is a remake of Cinema Paradiso. And it didn't get in.
Why did they?
I think it was like some political.
They remade Cinema Paradiso.
India,
okay, all right.
They remade Cinema Paradiso, yeah, and and although I understand that movie is very good, it's just like it's the nice movie,
Yeah, that movie I think speaks to Italy too. It's I don't know.
I will definitely be doing a watch party of Cinema Paradiso at some point on my channel.
Yeah, I mean,
that's I mean the original. I didn't even know there was a remake.
Yeah. I've seen it. Yeah.
Well, India also remade Forrest Gump this year, so
last
they do remakes. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's fine. Last one I'm going to mention is the Best Animated Feature Film. So we have Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, The Sea Beast, and Turning Red. That was the Pixar release, right?
Yeah.
So What do we think here? I think it might go to Pinocchio.
Yeah, hands down, this will be Pinocchio.
Yeah.
What, we don't give it to the one about girl having her period? That's not the one we're going to give it to? Okay.
I think people have forgotten about that movie at this point. I have not heard of the Sea Beast or Marcel the Shell with Shoes on. I don't know if these are any good. I just haven't heard of them.
I actually would love to.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I would love to see Guillermo del Toro win on this one. Kind of stick it to Disney.
Yeah.
What's the Sea Beast? Now I'm curious about that one.
The Sea Beast was again a Netflix film.
Okay.
And
is it a kids movie?
It's a kids movie. I don't know much about it. I've heard good reviews about it. People are happy it got in, so yeah.
Okay,
might be one worth finding.
Yeah, they're going to give it to Pinocchio.
Hands down, this is going to be it's going to be Pinocchio. I can't see anything coming close. Marcel maybe, but
Marcel the Shell.
Marcel the Shell is season, which from what I understand is based on a web series. But yeah, it's Guillermo del Toro, and they love him, and
they're going to give it to him.
You know, Pan's Labyrinth won what was then called the foreign language film, and of course, Shape of Water won Best Picture. A movie that I didn't like all that much, honestly, but because I just thought it was like a greatest hits album of his other movies, but.
Yeah, it was
totally misunderstood you there for a second. Thought you said it was greatest hits. I was like, well, they were okay, but
well, you did have a naked fish man in it, so yeah.
True.
I'm looking at Marcel the Shell. Rosa Salazar is in this, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's see. It looks like it's stop motion animation. This one looks pretty cool, actually. I might give this one a look. This is.
Yeah, I mean, stop motion animation really came into its own this year. You have 2 stop motion animated movies nominated, which I think is like a first. So
stop motion animation is still very relevant in animation, along with computer animation, because you can also make stop motion animation movies 3D. They say what hurt the 2D hand drawn animation was that they couldn't really do them in 3D. Like the computer animated pictures, so they couldn't do that upcharge. I think that hurt traditionally animated movies. That's what I'd heard, at least. But like the puppet animations, the stop motion animations, they can be done in 3D as well. Because I think Frankenweenie was in 3D when it came out. But this looks really neat. Actually, I want to see this movie now. This might be Boomer's movie of the year. This walking shell with an eye and 2 sneakers. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
walking around someone's office. I don't know what this is. I want to see this movie. It's just, it looks so bizarre. I'm gonna say this will probably be my vote for best picture of the year. Okay, after I watch it. But anyway, go ahead. No. Any last word on Troyer deleted scenes on the Oscar noms? What do we think?
I think it's overall it's a good list.
Better than it's been in years.
Better than it's been in years. But like I said, to me, I know what all of these movies are because I pay attention to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The normies, quote unquote, might not necessarily. They're not going to know a Coda or Sound of Metal. Sound of Metal, very good, by the way. It's a good list. You have Top Gun in there. You have Avatar in there. Elvis is a movie people are aware of. Yeah. What that's going to do overall for ratings, I still think the ratings are going to be very low. I think just the fact that they once again picked Jimmy Kimmel the host tells you what direction it's going to go in.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm out. No.
I'll if I bother with it at all, I'll probably watch, Chris Gore's channel to to just get their point of view. But yeah.
There was the time when Brie Larson subbed for him, and Brie Larson was a better host. That's how bad Jimmy Kimmel is at hosting his own show. This is just
that's actually saying quite.
She was better. She was better. They said she was much better host than he was.
I would prefer her over him.
Yeah, I think I would too. I'll be blunt. Yeah, I mean, I've ragged on her before, but I don't. She's not. I guess
she's easier on the eyes anyway.
Yeah, that's true, and she has more merit than Jimmy Kimmel. I can't stand him. I can't. I don't know if there are any of the late night. I guess Craig Ferguson might be all right.
Ferguson.
Oh yeah, he'd be great.
Yeah.
He'd be better. I would have gone with him. Yeah, I just or Conan O'Brien would have been cool, but they'll never use him for anything. I just Craig Ferguson. Maybe go with him. Just oh no, how did we end up with?
Well, I'll tell you what.
It's another thing.
The Oscars have degenerated into what was it that Tom called it? He said it was it's a Hollywood circle jerk. That's really all it's become. And I think it's gotten to the point where most of America has come to see it that way. And last year was probably the lowest point.
Oh,
they finally got to the point where they're like, these people are, it used to be okay. Hollywood is American royalty and the red carpet and all this stuff. These are people to be looked up to. Now it's like, these people are the worst of the worst. These are the kind of people I wouldn't want my kids hanging around with. I wouldn't want to hang around with these people. I'm done, So even if it is great this year's ratings are going to suck because nobody's going to be watching. The best that could possibly happen is the ones that do watch say, oh yeah, it was pretty good this year. And you get some buzz about it on the interwebs and maybe next year's better. But people are tuning out. And this is Hollywood's backpedaling, trying to save their status, which I think is well and truly past, or at least I hope it is. Just my thought.
We'll see. I think that this is I think they are trying to be relevant again with this year. We'll see. Why Jimmy Kimmel? Is there like a maitre d' also? I know they had that one year. They had Peter Coyote as like the go-to guy before and after the commercial breaks, right? But,
yeah, that's right.
You remember that, don't you?
Yeah, it
was very bizarre.
Odd.
Wasn't there one Oscars where Isaac Hayes disappeared in a puff of smoke and nobody knew where he went because they were doing like famous songs and he was doing I think Garth Brooks did Raindrops Keep Falling Head and then Isaac Hayes did the Shaft theme, but then he got caught in a puff of smoke and people thought something went wrong. He just disappeared.
Yeah, they've definitely had their share of odd moments through the years, and but I think after last year,
the punching,
I think they're going to
slap, not a slap.
They're gonna. I think they're going to put their best foot forward.
Yeah, Jim Carrey spoke truth when he was in that interview. He was just, we're not the cool kids anymore. That's what he said.
Oh, that's okay.
That's what he said in the reaction to this slap. He says, "Look, I think it's a sober moment." He says, "We're not the cool kids anymore." That's what he said. He was very embarrassed by that.
He ain't wrong.
Yeah. All right. So when are the Oscars this year? I didn't even think to when the date was.
I believe it's February 24th. Are
they earlier than they used to be? I thought they used to go in March. It seems like they're earlier.
They did used to be in March, but they're not going to be up against. They're not going to be up against the Super Bowl anymore. So, or no, it's not the Super Bowl. It's the Olympics that they.
Oh, I see.
They moved it for originally. So,
all right. Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to have the Olympics this year, so
Okay.
that's why
So
they pushed it forward.
it just reminds me back in the day, the Oscars were such a huge deal back in the 90s. I remember people would talk about them. And it's like now it's just, I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, at least there's some interesting noms this year. I think all the animation movies would be worth a look at least. I've been meaning to watch them myself, just haven't had the time. But a lot of them are on streaming services. I think I saw Tar on the streaming service. All Quiet on the Western Front. That's on Netflix. I didn't see that. I did watch a Netflix movie recently, the Pale Blue Eye.
Oh yeah, that looks interesting.
It was neat. I have to say, the actor that got to play Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah,
and it's interesting because I've seen Edgar Allan Poe perform twice because I think the guy was in Reanimator played him as well. And the mannerisms are very similar, like the way Poe talks and his mannerisms. And Jeffrey Combs also played an older Poe on an episode of Masters of Horror, and he does a live show. And this young actor's performance, his name escapes me at the moment. His performance reminded me of the Jeffrey Combs performance. It's very, I can't explain it. It's like that. It's like a Southern, but it's not. It's his mannerisms are just fascinating, just the way he talks about things. It's worth seeing for just that. And Christian Bale was good in it too. But yeah,
well, Christian Bale's always good. Yeah. And to go once again, another callback to Harry Potter. That's Harry Melling, the kid who played Dudley Dursley.
That's right.
Yeah.
I recognize him now. His eyes are different, but yeah, that was the actor played. He's good as Poe. He should be in more movies. I liked it. I'd like to see more Poe detective movies where he plays as a detective.
There's a book that was written by the same guy who wrote Angel Heart.
This might be what it was based off of. Yeah,
it's called Pale Blue Eye is based on a book as well.
Okay, but this is a different book.
There's a different book that's called Nevermore that was written by the same guy who wrote the film Angel Heart.
And is Poe a detective in that as well?
And Poe is a detective in that as well, with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
They need to do that. They need to make that use the same actor. They need to make that into a movie. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. They did a PBS miniseries about Sir Arthur Conan Doyle as an older man solving a mystery.
They did.
Like a real life mystery. Apparently this happened. They say it happened at least, but who knows if the BBC was stretching the truth there? I don't know.
Well, and there was another series that surrounded Arthur Conan Doyle and the man who inspired Holmes.
Interesting. I know what you're talking about. It was like he was like starting out. Yes, and it was the guy was the guy also a doctor, or was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that show. They also did a show called Houdini and Doyle, which was about Sir Arthur Conan Doyle teaming up with Harry Houdini to solve crimes. And they would play off the fact that Houdini was the skeptic and Doyle was the believer in the more paranormal stuff. So it'd be like something paranormal might happen, and then Houdini would debunk it. It's not really happening. That's not what happened. There's not it's not Spring Heel Jack or whatever. It's something else. It was interesting. It was interesting seeing Houdini and Harry Houdini, and it was neat.
It was an interesting turnaround because I had always grown up being led to believe that Houdini was like into the occult and all this, and
the opposite.
Here's this TV series where it's the complete reverse, where he doesn't buy into any of it.
Nope. It's all sleight of hand. That's all it was. And with Doyle, he writes Sherlock Holmes as the skeptic, which I think is interesting. He's the one that's not. He's the rationalist, the one that doesn't believe in or at least it would debunk the paranormal stuff in the stories. And of course, it's the opposite in real life, right? So it's weird. It was a neat little series, limited, yeah.
Before we go, this one just came in. I thought we were going to get away without a in remembrance, but Lisa Loring dies. Actor who originated the role of Wednesday Addams was 64.
Oh no!
Lisa Loring, best known for bringing Wednesday Addams to life in the Addams Family sitcom in the mid-'60s, has died. She was 64. Loring's close friend Laura Jacobson shared in a Facebook post news of her death on January 28th after the actor was taken off life support following a massive stroke. It was with great sadness that I report the death of our friend Lisa Loring. 4 days ago, she suffered a massive stroke brought on by smoking and high blood pressure. She has been on life support for 3 days. Yesterday, her family made the difficult decision to remove it, and she passed last night. Jacobson informed this social media post. She continued, she is embedded in the tapestry that is pop culture and in our hearts, always as Wednesday Addams. Beautiful, kind, a loving mother. Lisa's legacy is the world of entertainment. Legacy in the world of entertainment is huge, and the legacy of her family and friends, a wealth of humor, affection, and love, will long play in our memories. Rest in peace, Lisa. Damn, girl, you were a ton of fun. Loring's work as Wednesday Addams has recently resurged following Jenna Ortega's portrayal of the iconic character in Netflix series. Loring was the original Wednesday Addams in the live-action adaptation of Charles Addams' New Yorker cartoons. The show produced 64 episodes between 2 seasons from 1964 through 66. After the Addams Family, Loring, who was born Lisa Ann DeSinches in somewhere in the Marshall Islands on February 16, 1958, went on to make an appearance on multiple shows like The Phyllis Diller Show, The Girl from U.N.C.L.E., Fantasy Island, Barnaby Jones, As the World Turns, where she had a recurring role as Cricket Montgomery. Loring went on to reprise her Wednesday role in 1977 in the television movie Halloween with the New Addams Family. Her last acting credit was 2015 with the film Dr. Spine. Rest in peace, Lisa Loring.
We're losing so many of
the
greats from our childhood. I mean, just a few days ago, Lance Kerwin passed. And also, it was announced today Annie Wershing passed from 24. And
yeah, we almost bought that.
That one was leukemia, right?
Yeah.
The only reason I brought that up is because I literally had just been watching a video about her last week, and her history, as Wednesday Addams and stuff. You start going back and looking at this stuff when this kind of stuff is topical again, and it's just a wild coincidence,
Wow. Okay, then.
Sorry to take us out on such a dour note, but it just came in over the wire, and I figured I should.
No, hopefully we're not going to get more before the next stream. But as the way things are going, it's awful.
Well, did you see what I put into the notes? I said, hopefully nothing, but unfortunately, I think we still have one that's pending. We haven't heard any news yet, and that every day that goes by, that one's Julian Sands is very concerning.
That's
no news is bad news in this case.
I'm really worried. He's either never going to be found or they're ever going to find him, but he's not going to be. But we'll see. You never know.
That's an area that you don't want to get. You don't want to get caught in.
No.
Yep.
And I was just thinking. I'm sorry. Once again, just kind of once again my kind of movie knowledge diarrhea. He was the only villain in the entire 5 years of Person of Interest to get away. He's the one guy. He played the one guy they never caught.
Yeah, I need to get back into that. I know that that was a big show, but he never got caught. I take it he was like the.
No, they didn't have a chance to go back to him. They were supposed to. Well, okay. Here's the thing. They originally planned 6 seasons.
Oh, I see.
But they got canceled. Not canceled. They were allowed to end it at season 5, and it was kind of a truncated season. They only got 13 episodes. They showed it a year after the episodes were filmed, and they spent them all off in about a month.
Wow.
CBS really didn't treat the ending of it right. It was a good show, but long story short, they were supposed to bring
Julian Sands back.
They were supposed to bring him back had they gone the entire 6 seasons, and we were supposed to see where he ended up. But I would have liked to have seen him and Michael Emerson kind of have this, intellectual sparring match one more time. That would have been nice, but they didn't get the date because that was the one guy that Michael Emerson's character ever went off on, because it was Jim Caviezel who did all the action stuff. But, that was the one time where Michael Emerson went, "If you come back, I will take you down myself." It was like, I was waiting for that. And then it didn't. And
then you didn't end up getting it because of reasons. That sucks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, thank you for stopping by Deleted Scenes. We'll have you on again sometime. This was fun. And you will be on again on Friday night, won't you?
I am. I'm going to be joining Troy Stream Friday night last call. And we are going to be talking about reboots and remakes.
Yep. They're not all bad, but they're not all good either. We'll talk about that.
We should maybe name our favorites, maybe.
Well, I was actually thinking that, too. This was something I was going to bring up in the green room, but there's no reason we can't share this with everyone. What I would like is, come up with some of your favorites and the ones you think are the worst.
Planet of the Apes, Tim Burton.
That's kind of funny because you could use the Planet of the Apes.
I will. I'll use that as both because
you've got a remake. Well, it's kind of a remake. It's a soft remake, whatever. That sucked. And I'm sorry, I like Tim Burton, but that was a failure.
No.
And but then those sequels that were prequels, I suppose, from a certain point of view. Those would be like a reboot, not a remake, but a reboot.
Well, we'll get into it Friday.
Yeah,
I have my own thoughts.
Absolutely.
But reboots. I guess the Star Trek Abrams movie we consider as a reboot or remake.
Yeah, we can talk about that on Friday too.
But maybe we should talk about any coming out that we're dreading.
Yeah. That's cool too.
Suspiria. That's when people are split on. I did not like that remake. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was wondering if now I can ask Troy this. Can we bring up movies that we would like to see remade?
Oh, that's a good idea too. Yeah. That's probably not a bad idea. I do feel like there are some that really, really deserve it. But again, and we'll get into this more on Friday, but it's got to be done right? Like some of the good remakes that are out there, you're like, this is an example of when you should do it and why you should do it and how you should do it. If it's not going to be that, don't freaking touch it, because we actually have a watch party coming up in a couple weeks on Big Al's channel. We're going to be watching the Gil Gerard Buck Rogers.
Oh,
that I would argue is a great remake, and I think it's due for another great remake if they can do it well.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, that's
we'll
interesting.
Get into that.
That's interesting. Some elements of that were a little bit more faithful to the Roald Dahl book. Some elements were completely fabricated and didn't belong there at all. So
we'll get into it.
Are you guys just trying to make me not like Tim Burton? What is it with you guys here?
Tim Burton is hit or miss, like a lot of directors. I'm not picking on most of his movies. What was the last movie he did? Is it Miss Peregrine's or was it Dumbo?
Oh, Dumbo.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, Dumbo.
There's a miss.
Dumbo is right at the top of the list. Oh, I am bringing that one
But
up.
Miss Peregrine's good movie. Very good movie.
Fine. fine. But I'm just saying that I'm bringing Dumbo up on Friday. Oh my word!
Well,
Yeah,
you
it's
know what
time.
you can
It's
do
time to
is
skewer that movie.
you could take all the Disney live action
Well,
remakes
I'm doing
and
that one in
throw them into
particular.
the same pile.
Mhm.
You do them all at
Jungle
once.
Book was all right. I didn't mind that one.
Well, there was two of them. There was at
Yeah.
least two remakes of them. So you
And
got to say
I'm going to
which
be
one you
bringing
need.
one of those up.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Maybe we each pick a Disney one. A Disney
I'm
remake.
going to stay away from the. I'll let you guys handle the
All right.
Disney ones because
All right.
I just unilaterally do not like the remakes. Possible exception would be what was that? Oh gosh,
I don't know.
the one where Prince Charming was played by Cyclops. At least I think it was him.
No, that was I know the one you're talking about.
Marsden. Disenchanted.
Disenchanted. That's
Was
not
that
really a
him?
remake of anything though. That was more like
No, I
seance.
must be confusing that one with another one, an earlier one.
Maybe. Are you thinking of Cinderella where it was Rob Stark that played Prince Charming?
Oh, maybe it was. Maybe
Okay,
it was.
it wasn't Marsden, it was the actor played Rob Stark on the game.
Was that Cinderella?
Yeah, that was Cinderella. Yeah.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah. That was it. That was a good one. That was
all right. It wasn't. Well, that one wasn't a remake of the Disney movie. It was like a retelling of the same fairy tale. So it was Disney making another version of Cinderella, but they weren't like doing.
Oh, okay. Well, see, and that's my whole argument about why do you do a remake? If you're not bringing something better to it, something new, something
they made
different.
it different at least. That's what I'll give them points for. They weren't trying to just do a rehash of the animated movie. So yeah, it was fine.
Well,
we'll talk about them Friday. That'll be a whole host of things to talk about. Oh, I can think of bad horror remakes too. This will be interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Well, the question that
I'm going to be attacking some people like. I'm going to be attacking some of the remakes people like.
Every time a movie's up for a remake, somebody in the production, especially a producer, someone with the money, should always ask the question, why? Why are you remaking it? That's a very difficult question to answer, and there aren't many good answers to that.
Yeah.
Because if it's good enough that you want to see a remake, then it's probably good enough to stand on its own without being remade.
Yeah. Yeah, well. All right. Anything else going on during the week? I don't think so.
I actually don't think so. We don't have
no Birdman this week.
No Birdman this week. This is an off week.
We'll be back on the 8th, though. Yes.
Yeah, it's an off week for Mr. Matchstick.
Yes,
so really, last call is the next thing.
How about yourself? Deleted scenes. Anything going on?
I don't have anything specifically planned. I did say on my channel that I was going to review the Brandon Cronenberg movie Infinity Pool. So I'm going to try and get out in the next few days and see that. I have a review up now for the Indian film Pathan. And it is interesting thing. My second most watched live stream. So go over there and check that review out.
Cool.
And there will be new content on the way.
Cool. All right. And Saturday, Troy?
And then Saturday, we're over to Netter's Network, where we will be watching another remake. The 1980 something? Cat People.
1982.
1982. Yeah, I knew it was early.
Kinski and Annette O'Toole and
male actors
too.
Yeah, a lot of both of them.
Okay. Yeah. Did we mention Annette O'Toole?
Yep.
We all like Annette O'Toole. Okay.
Oh God, yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, and Malcolm McDowell will be there too.
Yeah, Malcolm McDowell.
He was in Caligula.
I think Ed Begley Jr. might maybe somewhere, but I want to talk about Annette O'Toole right now. So yeah,
I'm with you. I dig it.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all have a good night, and we will see you again on Friday on Troy's channel. Be sure to subscribe, and be sure to subscribe to Deleted Scenes as well. And check out everyone being posted. Check their channels out.
Everyone, everywhere,
all at once.
Earlier in the show, I posted everybody's link in the chat. So go back through the chat and click the links. And just to say hello, Nathaniel Arvin, who you've been seeing in the chat, is my half brother, and he has a channel.
Oh, nice.
So please go over and subscribe to him.
Cool beans.
And to those two of you that subscribe to Age of Boober tonight, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you. And we hope to see you on the next one.
In future streams. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.